city of Riyadh here in Saudi Arabia comes alive as dusk takes hold across the desert. And it marks the perfect time to come and see Groups D and C in action here at the FIFAe Nations Cup. Well, 12 teams fought earlier on and 12 more go head-to-head right now, all on a mission to win that trophy and be crowned the E-Nations champions on Friday night. It looks pretty nice, doesn't it? In all its glory there, that trophy. I think Aggie would have liked to have it back in the day, and Richard and Mike, you would have been the perfect duo as well, I believe, to take that. I think you'd have been dancing like the Brazilians. You would have worn the sunglasses, he would have had the dance moves, it would have been going off in the house. And talking of Brazilians, you look like you're wearing Brazilian yellow, no green. They are in the house tonight, guys. The defending champions are back and they mean business. Mike, are you supporting them in your yellow and not so much green?
I've got kind of a double support piece going on right now. So I've got one from each group. I've got Brazil and then also Sweden. I'd like to see the Swedish boys do the job.
Okay, I like what you've done there.
That's why I'm in between on the yellow.
You've split yourself, haven't you? Nicely. I'm going to come back over, though, to Aggie here, and we have to quickly recap what happened this morning, don't we, for your nation, Denmark. Finished fourth there in their group. Not out of it, far from it, but weren't the strongest nation we all believed I think they may have been here today.
I think they were satisfied, but at the same time also a bit disappointed. Yeah, we're just switching here fast. I think they were satisfied, but also a bit disappointed. They felt a bit hard done by there in some of the matches, but overall, I mean, they got some points on the board, and they were still looking fairly comfortable. And tomorrow they're gonna try to finish the job.
Rich, I don't know if that mic's going to work. We'll swap over just in case.
As long as it doesn't get passed down to me, we're good.
France, could they be a force to be reckoned with? They could take another title in this competition.
Yeah, 100%. I think France has been the best nation when it comes to utilising the 3 players available. Each player has a role. LJR is the main player, you would say, and then you rotate around him. You need a goal, Fuma comes in. You need a defensive shutout, Diogo comes in, his brother. I really like what they've got going on.
They're not rotating because they're technically 2 people. You've got like the Peixotos as a collaborative duo, and then you have Fuma.
The bros are in the house for France, anyway, I'm going to say that. Well, of course, you have to score a lot of goals if you make it to 1, 2, and 3 in the tables, and we're going to see those goals right now from Argentina, Saudi, and the Netherlands from Group A. Mike, take us through some class here.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about a little bit of the extras. The razzle, the dazzle. This knockdown is fantastic. You see Savic, you see the green time finish across the body. Myself, Alex, we both appreciated that goal. I still think it's going to be on display and should be on display for time to come. The same with the Kevin De Bruyne. I just didn't know that could drop from that type of distance.
This is France, of course, Group B. Then Morocco and Italy were 1, 2, 3 in that group as well, Mike.
And again, I really didn't see surprises, so to speak, earlier on today. Group A, Group B. Generally speaking, the teams that we thought would do well or due to acceptable standard did. And the teams that are competing for that last spot also are the teams that I thought be competing for that last spot.
So the script is still as we expected it to be at the beginning of the day.
I'm just dealing with the cards. Yeah, just the cards.
Well, let's look then at the standings and see what we mean when we say the top 3 in each of the groups. Remember, top 4 go through. So Argentina, Saudi, and the Netherlands, 10, 9, 8 points, and Denmark also on 8 points. At the moment, they're in the dominating positions. Canada and Qatar, a little bit of work to do tomorrow. Let's have a quick look at Group B. France and Morocco, 11 points each there. Italy, Finland, they're currently underway. We've just moved as we go across to the next group. America, of course, have a little bit of work to do. That was in Group B. Well, this is who you guys at home are seeing tonight. Rich, I'm going to come to you for this exciting Group C. We're really excited to see this.
I mean, you've got arguably one of the best mechanical players in the world in Neitz, partnering up with his 2 teammates, Andoni and Zidane. You've got the reigning, defending E-Nations champions in Brazil. New roster, some new elements coming into it. Paulo Neto, I think they've actually leveled up that roster. You've got the wildcards in Australia, and then Portugal, obviously such an established nation when it comes to FIFA esports. And then a couple of wildcards, Singapore and Turkey.
Aggie, talk to me about the depth in Group D.
Yeah, also a very interesting group there. We have the powerhouses as Germany and Sweden, And then we have some dark horses there with Israel, who's definitely an interesting nation with a lot of top players who's here. I think a lot of the competitors are watching them and thinking, okay, this could be a team that could surprise everyone. And then you have South Africa, where we saw Goliath Gaming earlier on, doing very well. So an open group as well. Peru, I gotta say I don't know a lot about them, but typically Southern American nations have great history by doing good. So I'm excited to watch Peru as well.
Yeah, and the Swedish team. Mike's wearing Swedish yellow over there as well. He's supporting the Optoli, Olalito and Oliboli as well. All those guys, we're going to see them shortly. Well, we don't know much about Peru. We're about to find out a whole lot more as we welcome the teams from Group C and D to the floor. Wow. First up then, the Spanish side are making their way onto the floor with Andoni and Neat. They could make things interesting, Rich, couldn't they?
Great nation. I would probably expect them to be going far in this tournament. I'm impressed. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do.
So they're followed by Singapore as well tonight. They're currently ranked 10th in the world, so they could be a surprise package.
Brazil on their way out, the reigning defending E-Nations Cup champions making their way up to pod 10. Australia not too far behind them as well. The wildcards Mark 11, Naylor and Marcus Gomes inputting all his wisdom.
And then you can see the boys from Israel here, Yuval and Feldman, a strong side. Doesn't really justify their ranking in 13th, possibly, Rich. The team from Peru will follow them as well. Can't wait to find out a little bit more about that side.
The Peruvians are a great team. I'm very impressed to see what they potentially could do as India make their way out as well. Charan Jot trailing at the back of that Indian team. A lot of fan favourites, the Indians, as they make their way out, followed by South Africa, who we just saw a couple of days ago.
And Portugal led out by Tuga there. 7th ranked, he's joined by J.A. Fonso and Rodrigo as well. Turkey just behind, you can't quite get a glimpse of those, but these guys...
You can't forget about Germany. They've not done it really on the E-Nations Cup stage. What a roster. Arguably, pound for pound, one of the best teams in this entire tournament. A country rich with FIFA talent, as well as the three O's, Oliboli, Optole, and Oli Lito. You can't miss them, all in yellow. They'll be making a scene here at the E-Nations Cup.
Well, yeah, the guys in yellow, they'll mean business with the Swedes. Really excited to see how they get on. Spencer spoke to them a little bit earlier. Olalito just in the back. Obviously, he got to the semi-finals, didn't he? Only last week with Team Hullet Ninjas in Pajamas. He's got 2 new teammates this time out. Can they go a step further? Well, these guys haven't yet gone head-to-head. This is their first outing, remember. Loads of great teams, including those, the defending champions. They field a new look side this time, but with some well-known faces.
The last year is a big dream for us. Brazil never be champion, but the first time, and now we try for the back-to-back. For me, the last year is crazy and a big dream for us.
Different names between this time, but we are like so much prepared for this tournament. We have a great gameplay, and of course we're gonna try to get the trophy again.
I think that we are very good, like our friendship. This is very important because I think that everyone has the same mindset of wanting to win, and the team has like the chemistry to win it. So I think that this is very important. And I think that like in the game, some of us, we have like different like abilities or specialities. Like I think that me and Paulo, we are more offensive guys, but Resende is the best on defense. So I think that this is very important. So the team has everything to win it.
It's like a dream. Wear this shirt, you know, is really important for us. Represent like all people that live in Brazil. So that's really important, of course we are really happy to be here.
I think that like the other teams, like they underestimate us, so they must be careful because we are coming again to win another year.
Well, such strength in depth then the Brazilians have got. They can sub out 2 world champions from last year, Klinger and Crepaldi, and they can bring in Rezende, who was kind of on the periphery, and then Paulo Neto as well. That says a lot, doesn't it, about the depth in Brazil at the moment?
And we're seeing a double dip here as well. You're looking at Ajax with Rezende and PH Zin. You're now carrying that over. And the new addition is Paulo Neto, and I've always viewed him as one of the best in Brazil, if not the best, especially in 1v1 competition. I think he should be here. And I talked to him earlier. They're going to be in a trifecta of rotations.
And you get to see a lot of him, of course, in the MLS as well. Well, let's go down to Spencer Owen then. Spen, I believe you are with the German team, and you're probably going to go and chat to him, aren't you?
You read my mind, Rachel. Yes, I'm here with the man who was crowned a champion of the FIFA E-Club World Cup 48 hours ago. Has it sunk in? Are you able to move on from that now and start afresh?
Of course, I'm not thinking anymore about the Club World Cup. Now it's a new tournament, so I just have to focus on this tournament, and I don't think anymore about the Club World Cup.
How will your role change in this team? Obviously, you're playing with a different partner or partners here. Anders is a very specific kind of player. Do you have to play a different way in the German team?
Yeah, of course, we play really different. I think we play a little bit slower and not so offensive like me and Anders are playing, but I think I can play in both ways, so we're also really confident with Germany.
Best of luck to Uma and the whole German team there. A chance for him to do back-to-back E-championships, and the case of a few days would be unbelievable. Let's not forget E-World Cup champion last year as well. He won't be retaining that this year. I'm going to jump into the Portugal booth quickly, if that's all right. Quick chat with Tuga, if you don't mind. Tuga, obviously I'm sure you're disappointed from the E-Club World Cup a few days ago. You weren't able to retain the trophy, but you've got a chance to win something for Portugal here. I know that would mean a lot to you.
Yeah, it would be the perfect tournament for me, to be honest. Be crowned as the world champion, representing Portugal, which is my country, will be probably the best trophy that I will get in my FIFA history. So we are here, we are confident, and hopefully to perform well in the group stage and then the knockouts to get a trophy.
I was actually lucky enough to go to the Portuguese National Centre of Football last year, and I went to the trophy room, and alongside all the football trophies, they had one of your esports trophies in there, and I remember I sent you a picture and said, how cool is this? You're on display in the same place that, any trophy that Cristiano Ronaldo might have won would be. Talk to me about how Portugal have supported esports.
Yeah, Portugal has done, and especially the Portuguese Federation of Football has helped us as a country, as a community since 2017. We are probably one of the best nations in terms of conditions, of tournaments, intern tournaments, and obviously we are here because of our community, obviously because of the federation, and hopefully we can get them the win and the trophy.
Best of luck to the whole Portugal team. I absolutely love it when you see country federations, really get behind esports and help it grow. So shout out to that moment, really, when I saw that trophy in the Portuguese National Football Centre. I thought it was fantastic. More of the same, please, federations. Anyway, on with the FIFA.
Thanks, Ben. Well, someone else who's got a bit of a memorabilia in a certain FIFA museum is the man next to Richard Buckley, August Rosemeyer. Of course, Aggie, you've been inducted, haven't you, into the FIFA Hall of Fame, and obviously you did that last year in Copenhagen, but then also you came to Zurich only a couple of weeks ago, and we got to highlight your achievements once again. How special is that, going to the FIFA Museum and seeing yourself recognized?
Yeah, that was a great experience for me, and also a little bit overwhelming just to see it. Like, it was a bit surrealistic to see yourself at the museum, but it also makes you happy, and it brings a lot of nostalgic memories, and I think we will see loads of these talented players and clubs at the museum in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive accolade, isn't it, for them to be just really honoured by their federations and by FIFA as well. And we noticed, didn't we, behind the Portugal team, Francisco Cruz was there as well, and he also got inducted into the Hall of Fame at the same time, actually, a couple of weeks ago when we were in Zurich. Former world champion Mike, they've got a good roster, haven't they, Portugal?
It's kind of wild, too, if you date back those years. He was a kid when he started winning, and I think he's grown 12 inches, almost a foot. He's grown over a foot probably since he started winning there. And you can kind of see we were talking about it earlier, the glow up, but he'll be leading that team. There's a lot of history in Portugal in general. It's not the biggest nation, but they've had a lot of success from the football side and then also the virtual football side.
Absolutely. Richard, I believe this was your pick of the matches to start things off with. South Africa, Sweden. Why did you go for this one?
I mean, Sweden are mechanically one of the best nations in FIFA esports when you look at the quality they've got. On the other side of it, South Africa, we saw this exact team last week with Goliath Gaming. They made a quarter-final, exceeded all expectation. No one had them going to the quarter-final. Just getting the vibe around it, they feel as though they let themselves down in that quarter-final. They didn't perform to the level they expected that they should. I think they're going to, I actually think they'll get through this group.
Have you been in there
I
to
did.
give them some
Went,
words of
the good luck
encouragement?
Charlie's here, so I'm expecting big things.
If you're just joining us, then that's an inside joke between Rich and I. The South Africans last week said Richard Buckley was their good luck charm. So pressure's on, Rich. That's all I'm going to say. Pressure is on.
Can I get a couple things on the record just before everything unfolds? First off, Group C is going to be the most interesting group, the most dramatic group, the most dynamic group of all the groups. All right, I want that on the record. And then Group D, Brandon said he thought it was going to get the shaking and bacon. Maybe he used different words than that, but you got what I'm saying. I don't think so. I think it's very clear cut that it'll be Israel, South Africa, Germany, and Sweden to be the top 4 in that group. Now that that's on the record, you can come at me later, but at least it's been stated.
Clip that up, Mike.
Yeah,
Put it out on socials.
I don't like when it's backtracked. People say, I said it was going to happen. It's like, I didn't hear you. Now it's been told.
He's finished. He's finished there, Rich. We can start now.
He has finished.
I had to get that out.
And sticking up with the Mike Lobel prediction was an early goal. He didn't expect this side to do very well in Peru, and they are 1-0 down early doors. Israel, one of the favourites for this tournament. They've got the #1 player ranked in Europe in Yuval, partnered alongside 2 just fantastic players in Nisa and Feldman. Expecting big things from Israel.
You want some more statements? I expect Israel to be top 4.
Of the entire tournament?
I expect them to be reaching the semifinals. That's where I'm at. We're going big and bold to start today.
Big and bold, just like his jacket. Let's go.
Speaking of yellow, back on board with Sweden as they try and penetrate the South Africa defence. Doing well to hold firm. Aga, before we get underway and before things get hectic, I've got a question about Scandinavia in particular. We saw Denmark earlier today. Is there a little bit of internal competition within Scandinavia as well to be the best nation? Like, does Sweden and Denmark have a little bit of like, we want to be better than each other?
Definitely. I mean, I can say that Denmark and Sweden's been having the biggest rivalry in Scandinavia.
As we jump over then to have a look and see what the German side looked like with a newly crowned world champion. Well, that's what they look like there, Mike.
Way too much space. Didn't even need the skill move. Stepped into space, green, time, finish, 1-0.
Whenever I see Turkey playing FIFA esports, just reminds me back to England getting knocked out. As they go 1-0 up, as they jump on board. Perfect timing with a penalty to Sweden. Good save from South Africa.
We got to remind people as well, we saw South Africa, the same team, basically in action with Goliath Gaming. They're now representing the national team. They're dangerous. They are clearly a dark horse, and they've already have success on this stage. Most teams can't say that are here in action. You've seen some intersects, some different players that have had to make some trades, maybe with different partnerships, but here we have an identical partnership that already has had a successful run.
They also get the 10% buff with the Richard Buckley good luck. So it's factual.
Aggie, massive advantage for the South Africans, already been partnered up with the same duo last week and then coming back here again this week.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be an advantage if you experienced this before. As we've also been speaking about, the same goes for Brazil, who is also keeping the same duo, as for now at least. It definitely plays a part that you've been here, you've been sitting here together, and you had some experiences, whether it's good or bad. And
Do you like that one?
as we could see there, loads of goal coming in.
Again, another team that I think can cause some major problems is Australia. We've seen those guys in action, seen them on the big stage. I'm telling you, Group C is where you want to be. Maybe you don't want to play in it, but in terms of viewership potential of a lot of mix and match and upsets and dramatic moments and roller coasters, I really feel that's the group.
I mean, even in Group C, you have the unknown quantity that is Singapore. That you don't really, they're not one of the 5 nations, when you look at Spain, Brazil, Australia, Portugal, Turkey, that you put in there. They're on the periphery. However, they are a great side in their own right, and they're taking on Spain here, and there has been an early goal, and it's gone to Singapore in this matchup.
On cue. On cue. I'm telling you, Group C is the place that a lot of things are going to be moving and debating and discussing, and it's going to be very unpredictable. That's the word you like using. We'll roll with that word, Rich.
Do you think one of Spain, Brazil, Portugal goes out in Group C? Do you think we got a big shock? Australia and Turkey. What do you think about that? Australia and Turkey in this group as well, and it's a back and forth affair. Turkey now leading 2-1. Mike LaBelle.
Yes.
Yes.
I think someone goes. I think someone goes. And we're going to use the game that you love so much, and I can't wait for it. It's going to come into play a lot more tomorrow. But what word am I missing here, Rich?
Is it the permutations?
Oh, the permutations. That's right.
Well, it's a bit of an upset as well with the game we looked at earlier when Germany got an early goal there. The side from India have got themselves right back in it, which is so great to see.
I want to see India have success. They struggled last time that we saw them in action. We spent a lot of time with them in that online period, getting to know a lot of their players, their talent, the development of that talent, because it was new to competitive esports. And for most, we didn't realize there was as much going on there.
Absolutely.
In terms of the level of competition and the amount of competitors that were at this high tier or this upper tier.
Aggie, what do you know about the team from India?
Got to be honest, not a lot. I met them as well last year in Copenhagen, and I've obviously been following them throughout the season. And I mean, it was very nice guys, very likable and very willing to learn, it seems, and to follow their progress has been very interesting. And I, as Mike says, I hope they will proceed in this competition. I would like to see that underdog story.
As we're just going to half-time here, after speaking to a few of the players in this tournament, nations like India, Singapore, we looked at Peru, who are going to be in action. This morning, Qatar, I had a great chat with A.A. Megasib, Malaysia. There's a lot of nations that don't get opportunities, and this is the biggest opportunity of arguably their FIFA career. They have to make it pay as the winning defending champions go 1-0 up just on the stroke of half-time.
No, watch that back. That is just disgusting. I don't know what they ate for dinner or for lunch, but they're giving it all to Portugal. That is an absolute treat. I'm talking quality dessert, probably a lot of calories. It was
great day.
Oh my goodness. Oh, we're gonna get to see it again. Wait till you see this box work. A little body feint, left stick, right stick, move over, reposition, goalkeeper movement, does not matter. Go ahead and do a little bit of a wave, a slip and slide. It's summertime.
I mean, the perfect time as well. And you just see the Portuguese look behind to Francisco Cruz and says, what do we do next? What do we do about summertime? I don't know. We'll have to find a way back through that long, hot summer.
Can we just get August reactions to when I talk?
We're not coming on camera for that reason, actually. Right, let's get back into the second half then. South Africa, Sweden. No one's broken this deadlock just yet. Mike, you need to get yourself down there, wave your shirt around, and see if it spices things up a little bit.
I had a brunch with the Swedes, so we've already discussed, we've talked about it, we've gone over different things. I told them this is the closest I get to supporting right here. You see the big yellow is out in full effect. Give me something to cheer about.
What did the big yellow have for brunch?
Well, I had a sandwich.
Okay.
It was kind of off-brand for brunch, but that's what I had. The chicken club.
Just want to know, it looks like Ololito is sitting behind. Aggie, I mean, Mike, you can answer this one as well. Aggie, is that because they're getting a little bit of a rest after what he did last week?
I don't think so. I mean, we saw this lineup as well in Copenhagen. I think they're rotating. I think their chemistry is very, very solid. And I think these 3 players are together about making the decisions. I think that's one of their biggest strengths. There's no big ego or one big star there. It's a collective, and they don't put themselves before the team, so they will understand the eventual decisions. So I think they're going to be rotating. I don't think it necessarily has anything to do with Ololito's success, let's call it that, with his top 4 last week.
Mike, no Boris legends, though, behind them this time.
Ivan made an announcement. Ivan is Boris legend, for anybody at home that doesn't know.
Step basics, I like that.
Yeah.
No, actually, I thought that was good, because we
Ivan
both
and I are
had
good
different names
friends.
there.
We are on a first-name basis. I would hope so. He made an announcement that he was basically going to spending time elsewhere. And that he separated at the beginning of the year. So it's not a surprise here, and they've been working together separate to Ivan.
I just know him as Mr. Boras.
Mr. Boris, whatever you want to call him. We're giving him all sorts, so I'll just call him the legend. And I think it's Boris.
But obviously, he played a massive
How'd I do?
part,
Not
didn't he,
good?
last year?
Ivan would be disappointed.
Especially as a close
August, give
friend.
me the, that wasn't it.
We have got another goal. Israel and Peru, a side that just quietly going about their business here. Israel 2 goals up to the good. People picked them as the favourite to go through this group, in Group D as the top seed. And I mean, sometimes quality does just shine through, and you start to see just that difference in ability.
Well, Nisat, first off, we should give a lot of credit to. He goes under the radar compared to the 3. Yuval, one of the best players in Europe, especially online. He's been phenomenal. We're seeing him at the E-World Cup. And Feldman has always been my favorite or my leader or the best of Israel if we're looking through previous years. So difficult to get by, difficult to beat. So it just gives you an idea what kind of talent they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's a couple of matches still going. I saw that Germany just got another goal just for half-time there as well, to take the lead to 2-1. Mike, you're liking what you're seeing down here?
Anytime you start dancing, prancing, you give me a little bit of some rhythm. When the music starts playing, things happen. But it was good defending there from Brazil.
I'm sure we'll speak about it. We've got a little bit more time regarding Portugal. If this result stays as it is, my point that I'm about to make looks even better. Do you think that Tuga getting grouped last week, just that little bit of mental where he's not going to change the way that he plays, but too many draws last week was the reason that the Riders Atletico Madrid got eliminated?
One of the strongest competitors mentality-wise. I don't like going against Tuga in anything. So you can see a little bit of some reworking, a little bit of action here. Germany extending against India. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and surely, because these are back-to-back events, you don't get a lot of time in between these events. That's got to sit with Tuga a little bit. He's got to be disappointed. He's definitely emotional from E-Club. That was their title that they probably expected to make a run for a chance at going back-to-back. I talked to him before he got into action with the E-Club. So I don't want to use the word humbling, because I always feel like Tuga is very humble. He's very professional, but I think he's probably surprised to not get that result. Him and Indonesia as a team have shown so much success together, and it did not come together due to the draw.
But then having success with your nation, maybe it's even more special if he could do it this week, Aggie.
Yeah, we heard Tuga speaking about it, that it would be arguably the biggest achievement for him to achieve this together with his country, Portugal. We speak about Tuga. I'm also finding very interesting to see Andone in Spain, but they're currently down as well right now with 1, I believe, and both of them were together, obviously, last week. Both of them react to
Final third, but South Africa quite resolute and very similar to what we saw from Goliath Gaming last week. It is the exact pair. They're now just representing the nation that they love so much in South Africa. And one thing they were really good at is capitalising when one single opportunity came up. They weren't necessarily the best team on paper for 75, 80 minutes of those games, but in the spells they scored. And something that this South African side they have to do if they want to get through this group.
They weren't grinding results out either in terms of having to chase a late goal. We saw South Africa during the E-Club. They were always scoring first. They were scoring early. And then from there, they showed what I was surprised with, but the ability to handle game management and holding on to leads, making it difficult for your opposition. But they didn't have a bunch of late winners or late drama in those regards. A lot of the job got done early, and then they were able to make the most of them.
Going to take your moments, haven't you? That's what it comes down to. In these big moments.
A little bit risky that, just up in the air. It's not clear just yet. South Africa will recycle this possession. Ball out wide, just holding, waiting. And they're just going to play out here for the final attack of this first game here in Group D.
We've got a bit of pause, haven't we, as well, in the Australia-Turkey match. We had a bit of a technical problem
Whipped in.
In that one.
Just thought that might fall. And that will do us between South Africa and Sweden. Points shared in the first game of Group D.
Not a bad beginning for either team. I don't think they're mind the draw, but I like to reiterate the point that Richard keeps stressing as well. Draws can and likely will be deadly if you have too many of them.
Especially if one or two nations start to pull away. Israel, you don't imagine will drop many points, just given the quality that they possess. If they can start to pick up sort of 6, 9, 12, we've not seen anyone get 15 from 15 in a session yet. Israel might very well do that. Germany, if they were to pick up 6, 9 points, then those draws really do start to hurt you quite a lot. Brazil versus Portugal, final 20 minutes. Anyone surprised, Mike Agger, that Brazil obviously won it last year and then changed the team so drastically this year?
Oh, they should be converting. Sorry, I was holding off for just a moment there. I don't think it's that big of a surprise that we're seeing PH in the likes of Resende, just because they're already working together with Ajax. Maybe a bigger surprise, even though I rate him so much and I give him so many compliments and superlatives, is Palinetto coming in, especially considering that you have a couple players that won the world title, they won the world championship. You're saying E-Nations, at least somebody got to be there. We got to take 2 out of 3.
You're in the team. Denmark won it the year before. The year after, only 1 out of the 3 is still in the team. You get dropped. You annoyed by that, or can you see the why it's happened?
August, you'd be annoyed.
Yeah,
You're the one that gets dropped off the 2 out of 3. You're the 1 out of 3 is all they took.
Yeah, I think as a player you would probably be annoyed, but on the other hand, that's a nice ball roll right there. Israel just
there you have it.
Getting that
Wrap
third one. But I mean, it's a hard one because obviously it's a new season, it's a new game, which means that you shouldn't be guaranteed things based on previous achievements. So they made a decision in Brazil, who are our 3 best players, which team is the best. It was the decision. You have to rethink all the time, you have to reinvent yourself, and I think that's what Brazil did.
And that's exactly what Germany's done here, bringing in Levi Finn to that roster. Umut, Dullenmike and Levi Finn. A couple of seconds left.
I think they both made the right choice, actually. So Germany, this shift was needed, and I believe that we're going to see that over the course of the next few days, that it was a positive move for the progression of Germany. And the same with Brazil. I'm not saying it's fair, and I think just off the GP, general principle, you got to keep at least 2 of the 3, but I do think they picked the right 3 to go forward. I guess only time will tell, but I like the combination of Palinetto, Resende, and then, of course, PH Zen, who's been leading. He's the face.
And Resende was part of that setup. He wasn't obviously playing, but he was very much on the sidelines there, helping out in some capacity. He was a part of all those celebrations. His image will live on won't he, in all the pictures that were taken this time last year in Copenhagen. So he knew the setup really well, and well enough possibly to just to fit in that side this year.
I see that Brazil side as PH Zin and Resende will play 80% of the games. If we're trailing, if we need a little bit of a magic touch, if we need some electricity, if we just need to bring something into the game, Paulo Neto comes in. I mean, we've seen him. We were at the Carnaval Libertadores, and it was just such electric games. Whenever Paulo Neto was involved, the attacking ability that he possesses is like nothing else that really we see here.
Well, we saw him do that in EMLS as well. He went back to back to back, and he even saw himself in the final. He almost went for 4 straight. And his offensive capabilities, just a phenom, pushing bodies forward and just taking advantage of his gifts. There's no other way of saying it. When I look at Palinetto, he's one of those guys that's naturally very gifted at FIFA.
That's why he makes it in the squad then. That's kind of...
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the choice. I'm just saying off the principle of I won the world title, I need to be there the next year. I feel like I've earned it. But I think they've made the right decisions here. And on paper, which you have a little paper that I wrote down, I took Brazil to win the whole thing. Maybe that's why I'm wearing some yellow. I might wear yellow all days.
Well, you're wearing it all day today, so that is for sure. Right, let's just wind up these games, and there are a lot of scores coming in as well. There's a chance.
One-way traffic, Portugal, these last sort of 5-10 minutes. Really trying to squeeze every inch out of this game. Looking for an equaliser. Corner to be whipped in. If someone's got something up the sleeve, it will be Captain Tuga. What can we expect? Back post potentially. It's a short one. You're waiting. You're waiting for just something to open up here around the edge of the box. Brazil still holding firm. There it is. Portugal, late equaliser, played the corner, kept it moving. And that's what they do.
And what a goal. Are you talking about moving players around? You've got a manually lob pass. They knock it down, headed into the middle of the pitch, opens up just that half second of extra timeline, and then banging it off the post and in, taking no chances, 1-1. That's deserved.
Yeah, and these goals requires a lot because it's much more of a team goal compared to the more tasty ones we've been watching.
That's tasty to me.
Yeah, but this requires, as you were saying, this requires two players in sync, which was very well executed there.
Nicely done then for Portugal, just to get themselves back in it as Brazil go down the other end and just ruin their opening matchup. Look at Tuga there. He puts his hands up to his head and goes, I thought we'd done enough there, Mike. I thought we'd done enough.
I'm feeling uncomfortable just watching that. And I haven't even seen it on a repeat. Grab that, navigate it, throw it into a top 5, a top 10, a top 20, a top 50, whatever it might be. It needs to be there.
Sign of a champion, that is. Coming back right at the end to clinch those 3 points. You're probably looking, why is Australia and Turkey so far down? They had a bit of a problem, a techie problem with that. So we join them as we approach 60 minutes here. Australia looking to get back into things. Mark, remember, he's part of all 3 of the World Cups. He was Hollywood last week, you should say, not that far behind. And then it was Dire Wolves last year, if you actually want to know. He's playing Australia there against Turkey. They're 2-1 up at the moment.
I actually think the last 2 goals we just saw, I'm not over them. The goal from Portugal is phenomenal. The passing, the finding of that space, the little lob, the knockdown, just a quality team goal, as August was saying. And then on the other end, you just had a moment of brilliance. Just giving you something special. You needed sauce with that. Here's some extra.
Yeah, and I also want to just add to that I was a bit surprised about Brazil just getting back instantly, because usually when we speak about Tuga, it's game management. You pause after that goal, you're making sure that your opponent will not have the opportunity just to strike back, just to get you that relaxed moment to prepare for, because Portugal knew that they scored. We're going to just seal this out now. We're going to defend the last attack. Here, that's our main job. We're not going to get the ball back. There's no time to get a chance more, but it seems like they rushed it a bit maybe in terms of just taking that extra time, and that's not very like Tuga, as I remember. He's a very controlled player and always thinking about the next step, so maybe something there.
Rushing it because he desperately wants it, Mike. Possibly, we heard him. He wants this one. This is important to him this year.
I think we've seen Tuga have to deal with more adversity than some of the previous years. He's always been a guy that wins the 50-50s, very similar to a Nicholas. Talk about game management, controlling matches. He's got that same gene. He's cut from the same cloth, but we have seen him struggle a little bit last week, and it's very early today, but we're not used to seeing them give up those late goals.
One leg just doesn't suit him. I think it sounds really simple, but that's 2-1 after the first leg. He goes into the second leg, and he has a complete new 90 minutes to win the match. And you have to, all the players have said it, it's 2 different tournaments. The group stage is one tournament, the knockouts is another tournament.
Well, especially with players like that, it is that simple, because he's somebody that mentally outlasts you. It's a drag. If you ever played against Tuga or played against somebody like him, I don't know if there's that many that are as good at doing what he does as him, but you know you're not getting the ball easily. You're going to deal with a lot of possession. He defends extremely well. He doesn't make mistakes. The kind of match that you're in for, you're already mentally drained sometimes before you even get started.
Yeah, I tried it on my own body a lot of times. Playing against him was always a big hurdle. And you always knew when you had to play him that this is going to be draining. And that's why I was a bit surprised about the end of that game, because I rate Tuga so high. But they still have a lot of time to get back. Obviously, 9 games left for them, so we don't really doubt Portugal, or at least I don't.
Speaking of plenty of time to get back, that's exactly what Australia have just done against Turkey. A big goal, 10 minutes left to play. Just recycled the possession, got it into the feet of their attacking players in the right place at the right time, and slotted it past the keeper. And with 10 minutes left to play, might fancy all 3 points, one of these two nations.
We'll expect more drama from Australia because that's what they've been delivering over the course of the last 2 weeks. He knows how to get himself back in matches, does Mark, and he told Naylor just that, and Naylor would have watched what exploded here last week.
We spoke about this group earlier, Group C, where Australia and Turkey find themselves. It is probably the toughest group on paper. Before the tournament starts, we often say you look at some games and you go, maybe a 3 points there, maybe a 1 point there. This is one of those games where both nations will probably go, we need to get 3 points from this game.
I'd agree with you. I don't always like agreeing with you, but I don't think a draw does what's needed or what's necessary for either Turkey or Australia.
For the first time in a while, I have to disagree a little bit. I mean, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I just feel like when you're playing that first match of the day, you're willing to compensate, because most importantly is that you get your grip going, you're getting the feeling.
Speaking of the feeling, Turkey have just got it. Travella on the edge of the box. Frankie de Jong finding the top corner. There's no compensating here.
No compromising, no compensation, and that is the curse of the commentator. And I always remembered alliteration when I was in English class.
All the C's.
I do agree with what Aggie said, though. If you're starting off, you would just not want to lose. You want that point regardless. I'd play for that draw.
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance, right? I just mean, like, you won't take too many risks at your first game. Just naturally, it's in your identity almost, I'll say. Obviously, it changes from player to player, but I just mainly think generally that's what you're thinking.
I'm picking up what he's putting down.
I was that cautious sports person.
Yeah,
maybe we're
Mike
just
Lavelle.
risk takers.
It's more about the match, and yeah, maybe we are, but it's more about that matchup where I'm saying you need a win out of there. I just threw a pen and a card, but I think in that matchup you need more than the draw, basically. Because if it was against a different opposition, I'd have a different opinion. For example, if you're Brazil going up against Portugal, that first game that we just saw, if that ended in a draw, I think that's okay for both of them. However, Brazil had a little extra flair. They saw the yellow. They said, Mike, I got you covered.
Well, we've got 6 minutes left to play here. Frankie de Jong with a beautiful strike, it has to be said. Travella sailing over the top of the crossbar, and Australia will find themselves marooned at the bottom of the table after this first round of fixtures, unless they fancy doing something pretty special, it has to be said. They come forward, not long left as Turkey just turn over possession, and with, 2.5 minutes left to play, you probably think they have just about done enough. However, no. Looks to me that this possession will be switched over, and into the corner flag they go. Unless we fancy one more chance, whip to the back post, extra touch. Game still on. Game off.
Turkey then take that one, 3-2 over Australia, and 3 big points in their back pocket to start off their campaign here today. Well, all the matches now are finished because we're waiting for that one. And Sven is down there about to chat to the South African duo who just got that draw over Sweden. Sven?
Yes, indeed, Rachel. We spoke last week, didn't we? And you said you were it was a big moment. You've been waiting to have these interviews and to be on this big stage when you're representing Goliath, of course. Do you feel like you've settled in and you got confidence from last week taking it into E-Nations?
Yeah, of course, like I said, it was historical for us as South Africa, and I think for the continent of Africa. So I think we've proven that we've got what it takes to compete at this level. We've known it, from day one, but we're here to improve on what we did in Club World Cup, and I can't wait to see what the two of them do. We're subbing out Zaid in, such a talented player, and I can't wait for him to express what he has in his locker.
great to see the whole squad being used. A first game against Sweden, a draw is not a bad result. Sweden, obviously, with a very strong team. What does success look like for South Africa at E-Nations?
We want to win every single game. We want to win the group. I think that's the confidence we have. I think we should approach every tournament like that. So, yeah, Sweden, like you just mentioned, they are extremely good, 3 very talented players, and it's the first game of the tournament, you know, so there's a little bit of nerves, maybe there's a little bit of everything, but a draw is not a bad result to start with. Hopefully we can follow it up with a win now.
Definitely. Best of luck in your next game. Guys, Goliath is one of the stories of last week for me, so maybe South Africa can do the same here at E-Nations. We're going to go up the stairs now because I want to talk to the lads from Singapore who kicked things off with a very good opening victory against Spain. How's the mood in the camp?
We are feeling good. I mean, the first result obviously went our way. I think this will build confidence towards the next few games, and I hope that we can continue the same form.
You're going up against Portugal next, but we're going to just take a look at the goal that you scored in that last game to win it. Talk me through it.
We were feeling confident, you know. We don't want to make any safe passes. We want to take risks in the box, and I think it paid off. You know, we worked our way well, and we got our reward.
I don't know if you got to see any of the Brazil-Portugal game in the last round, but they lost in the last minute to Brazil. So Portugal are going to be a wounded animal looking to bounce back against you guys. Have you got a plan for them?
We're going to stick to our plan, and we see how it goes during the game, and then we will adjust accordingly and try and get a result in the end.
Okay, good luck in the next game to the guys from Singapore. If they can beat Portugal in the next game, not only would that be a poor start for Portugal, it would be an unbelievable start for the guys from Singapore. Let's see if they can do it.
Says Benny, calling Tuga a wounded animal. I hope you're not. He's listening to everything you say. Anyway, let's go back and discuss those chats then with the guys in the studio. The massive result for Singapore, wasn't it, to kick things off, Aggie?
Yeah, I think it's biggest result today for me. I don't know a lot about Singapore, I'm not going to lie, but I mean, them coming in here and beating Spain, which is a team, I predicted Spain to win this group, so I mean, massive result for them.
What group is that, August?
Group C?
C.
Oh yeah, Group C. Yeah, Group C. What did I say? Group C was going to be?
The most interesting group, Mike LaBelle. But if
most interesting man alive, most interesting group.
Oh, I beg to differ. Anyway, let's go across.
Wait till I grow a beard, watch out.
If Singapore were then to go and defeat another European powerhouse in the form of Portugal, that would be one of the biggest statements we've seen so far in this opening kind of round of fixtures.
And you can do a lot in day one where you make it, you don't have to chase day two. And we've seen that with the E Club. A lot of teams weren't able to rise to the occasion, get the job done in day two because they had too much pressure from being lackluster, being a little suspect in day one.
Well, let's see if they can do that. Big round of fixtures coming your way in a short while. Turkey, though, for me. Rich, do you think they were a surprise package there?
I don't really know what to take away from that first game because that was the one where we had that slight technical pause. I think the game restarted. Sort of, if Australia were getting a bit of momentum, that was halted. I wouldn't read too much into that game, being completely honest. I think Australia will still fight back. The one thing that we've seen from Australia, Mark 11 in particular, is that he will fight until it's impossible for him to be eliminated. I expect Australia to bounce back in emphatic.
You're making up
fashion.
words, I like it, let's go.
And Israel, we all suspected they'd be a dominant force. 4-0 over Peru was just a statement we'd expect from that team.
For me, yes, clearly. I'm obviously a fanboy. I just think these guys are poised to make a run. I really do.
Well, let's just then have a quick look and wrap up round one of fixtures from Group C and D. We've spoken a bit about Turkey. They're at 3 points, as are Brazil and Singapore. They all got the wins over Australia, Portugal and Spain. And then in Group D, Israel, Mike was expecting a lot from there. They got their 3 points, 4-0 over Peru, who sit bottom of the pile. Germany got the victory as well. And South Africa drew, of course, with Sweden there to kick off the round one of fixtures. Well, let's go to some matches as they're coming in. We're going to go to our main game, Australia, Brazil. Australia are looking to fight back, and Brazil are in action here, the defending champions. We're getting a chance to see how this new pairing, this new trio looks this year after changing things up. We had a big discussion about that on the couch, and they're underway now after their first round win over that Portuguese side. Right, let's see how they get on then. Finding their feet here are the Brazilians. Ooh, statement early on. Big statement there, Mike.
Relatively direct, breaks through, not the best defending, a lot of time to work with. Again, take a moment, look at the goalkeeper, line it up, green time finish across the body. It's what I would expect from Brazil, 1-0 in the 5th.
Yeah, it's a really, really strong start from Brazil, it has to be said. Not many people backed them to go and defend their title, but what we've seen so far, resolute, getting that late goal, starting strong here. They didn't have a great group stages last year. I seem to remember on day 1 they were quite poor. Day 2 they got enough points to get through, and then in the knockouts just kept the ball rolling, eclipsing in a wonderful, wonderful final against Poland with a last-minute winner.
Yeah, I believe they only won 1 game on the first day. They came back and won 4 on day 2 there, so it shows you don't have to be perfect when you just come out the blocks. Brazil are being quite good so far, better than last year for sure, and again that just cements that statement they've picked the right team.
On the other side, for Australia, you've just lost the last game. You come into this match here. Of that Australian roster, Marcus Gomes is present. However, I went up to the booth just beforehand and said, is there going to third player or coach? You were like, yeah, more coach. So it's going to be these two, Naylor and Mark 11, who are representing Australia.
Well,
they need to try and turn this around.
Yeah, we've got a big goal though, haven't we, for a team who had a bit of disappointment in their first fixture, and that's the Portuguese side. They have come out firing then against Singapore, who again got that big win over Spain.
Yeah, just the power of a shot right there from Portugal, and the start you want to get after that end to their first match. And also wondered a bit, I haven't been in the situation myself, but the thing is, like, would you prefer as a player, to you, Mike, and I think it's an open discussion, would you prefer as a player being in the team, knowing that you're going to play the entire competition, as we spoke about Australia with Marcus Gomes probably not going to play, so you know, regardless if I made a mistake, it gives you this security that you can just play, you will not be punished, so to speak, you will not get subbed. Or would you prefer to have that pressure on you, knowing that you have to perform, otherwise you could be substituted?
I'm going to use some odd descriptive words here, but if you're a cuspy player, so you're on the cusp, where I'm saying like you could be rotational with the third player, like you guys could share time, I would rather know what the plan is going into it. I'd like to know if my spot is solidified, it's certified, we're working towards that, this is what we believe in, unless maybe there's some sort of disaster and you have to make a change because it's not working whatsoever. But for me, I think I prefer to be like that if that's the situation, scenario, and there's a lot of what ifs and permutations that we could include into this debate.
Mike always likes to know what's coming his way though, don't you, Mike? You like to have a bit of a plan.
Correct.
I feel, as a person
Yeah.
and as a player. Whereas some people, they might just, not really, or some teams might not have that plan, but then realize it's not really about the team, it's about the country they're representing. So we're going to throw the kitchen sink at it to get a result for our country.
Give me the kitchen sink. This is the reality.
He'll hate being thrown the kitchen sink at it.
No, this is the reality. Winners have a plan. Whether you're on the individual level, you're in a 2v2, you can't just free flow this. You want to win a competition, these guys take it way too serious. There's too much being invested. Was we have nearly a goal there. There's too much being invested. Ooh. Oh, post being the best friend. Too many partnerships. You're putting too much time to leave it up to chance. To come into a competition and just say, well, we're just going to go with what happens. That's not going to work.
We had some cheers around here in the arena, and that's because a bit of a moment for a team who doubled their lead there, Rich.
We've only, out of all the games, we've only got 2 games with goals at this current moment, and Portugal have 2 of the 3 goals. They double their lead against Singapore. Simple cutback, slotted into the far right corner, and an instant turnaround after their disappointing opening match against Brazil. That's one of those matches when you look at Group C, Portugal versus Singapore. If Portugal want to progress, unfortunately, they probably have to pick up 3 points against Singapore here.
And it's reassuring if there's a critique, because I talk to Tuga a lot and Doni, and I keep dating back to the E-Club because I think it's important here as a previous measurable. They did everything right but score goals. They weren't offensively gifted and talented. Yeah, they weren't good. Everywhere else was good. The possession was there. Defending was there. And it allowed them to still stay competitive. Credit to them. But the fact that they've scored a couple goals here, I know it's a different partnership. I think it's super important and super reassuring. If you're a fan of Portugal, you're a fan of Tuga, this is good to see that they're able to slot a few back. And they might even add to it. It's only the 30th minute.
Yeah, you obviously look at his mental resolve as well, don't you, when it comes to Tuga. Last week with a hurt, and he has to come back and reset and go again here.
And also, not only come again, but he's not just a member of this team. He is the team, pretty much. Like, he's the captain. He's the one doing the huddle. He is the team spirit, everything, what you want to call it, captain, manager, leader, legend of this Portuguese side.
Yeah, he's one of the most professional players and dedicated players. In my opinion, I think that you describe it perfectly there, Rich. You can't really have a Portuguese team without him as it stands, it feels like. Even though, say, there's a lot of talented Portuguese players out there.
I feel it's kind of similar, actually, to Spain and Andoni at the moment. You kind of always go, oh, Andoni's got to be on the team, and then you can't look past Dux either, can you? Dux neat being in the squad as well. He's back in, and I think once they get in their flow, again, there'll be a team to watch, but we haven't really seen possibly the best of them just yet.
Yeah, and you also often, just to add on to the conversation, you often connect a certain player to a country. So when you're thinking about Portuguese FIFA, you are automatically thinking about the likes of Tuga, but also Francisco Cruz, obviously, and with France, you're thinking about Bruce Grenek, etc. So it goes naturally for them just to stick there. Denmark with Marcuso, for example.
And you, don't forget you. You're going to talk about you in
August,
Denmark.
you're still the first one coming to mind.
Exactly, me too.
From Denmark, especially over the course of the years. Or Spain with Ramos, who's qualified at 7 FIFA E World Cups, the most of any competitor. He's won a couple of them. He's always been in the mix. And I say all this because they're big leaders in terms of belief for the players that come in under those players' legacies. And it tells you that you can win. I say this not just because August is on the couch, but we wouldn't have the Marcusos, the Ustins, the Anders, to go with even more players that are coming to the future without the success of August. Even in Scandinavian countries in general, a lot of the Swedes also looked at August's success and said, okay, we could do this, neighboring country. This is in the locker. Or they look at Ivan as well, when you're looking at Ivan Lapagna, Boris Legend, Barus, whatever you want to say. I don't know how many different names we got to give the guy, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, now Ponce Ramos was another player like Aggie who got inducted only a couple of weeks ago into that Hall of Fame. So real trailblazers for their countries in terms of FIFA, and that's why we see the depth that we do in countries like Spain, Portugal and Denmark.
Yeah, some games at the minute very un-trailblazing. Group D, no goals so far, 3 0-0s. And we are deep into the second half as well, as we just hit half-time there in our featured game, featuring Portugal, Australia and Brazil, 1-0 to the Brazilians.
So I got my eyes focused on different things that are happening. We got a lot of screens. Israel should have had the opener. They went for a cheeky chip at the end of it, but boy, was it something silky sweet. I mean, split the defense, call your mother, call your father. Everybody needs a notification of what could have went down.
I feel India are doing a great job at the moment of keeping South Africa in a draw there. They lost their opening round as we see a goal go in. Richard, you just teed that one up nice. He had no goals in Group D. We find our first one.
Yeah, Israel scored 4 in their opening game. However, they find themselves 1-0 down to Sweden here. 51 minutes on the clock. The Scandinavian superstars goal. 1 goal to the good.
Yeah, and I was watching the exact same sequence as Mike, and I was also thinking, wow, what a goal could have been. But why did he go for the chip? And then it happens often when you don't take your chances. Your opponent runs down and scores, and that's what Sweden did. And such a strong collective. I would never go against Sweden coming far in a FIFA competition. I mean, they're so solid, all three of them, and the chemistry is top, top, top.
To your point earlier, you talked about how humble they are and how they work together as a group. And genuinely, we mean that. Sometimes we say that, but then behind the scenes, we do some additional investigation work, and we realize guys maybe aren't seeing the same picture. They're not as aligned as we thought they once were. That is not the case with the Swedes. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's just because they're all friends. None of those guys are loud or outspoken either, and I think that also plays a factor that you're dealing with three high-end professionals. You would never guess that they're all young. First time I heard Alito speak, I think he was 18 years old, and I was questioning myself at 18 and saying, yep, I was definitely nowhere near that level of maturity.
They're a nation who, don't really shout about their success as much, and we heard that actually, didn't we, last week when you had Ololito up against Levy. Ololito in a VT that was put out by the club said, oh yeah, Levy's so much more direct than I am. I kind of sit back and just get on with it. Rich?
Yeah, this Portugal-Singapore game, you might be intrigued to find out at home that Tuga benched himself for this matchup. It's Rodrigo and Drafonso who are the duo for Portugal here. They find themselves 2-0 up against Singapore, and potentially if they had a bad result in game one, they win this game right now, but we might start to see Tuga not featuring in this team.
I respect it. Well, I think it's more so that they need the result. And again, we're going to date back to the same point, the same narrative that I've kind of been talking about. Tuga struggled offensively. So put your guys that are going to give you more goals against a team that should give you some opportunities with Singapore.
That's exactly what they've done.
Yeah, maybe also it is to you have a two-goal lead as it stands. You're feeling comfortable enough to activate your third player, let him feel the virtual pitch and the environment here.
I was going to jump back to the Australia-Brazil game, which is our feature matchup. I thought Australia were on a bit of a charge there, Mike, but as the Brazilians do so well, they stop that, as we do see a equaliser over between Sweden and Israel. Let's just jump in and bring that goal to you.
Yeah, this is Yuval and Nisat for Israel at the near post. Just a little bit of a mess. Find the deflection, find the rebound, find the goal. 1-1 between Sweden and Israel. Turkey and Spain underway as well, and that was a goal for Turkey. Spain potentially going 0-2 from their opening two matches.
What did I say at the beginning of the show? You put me on the spot, Rich. I just like making sure everything's on record.
It's been a long show. What did you say?
All right. Well, we talked about how you said Spain, Brazil, Portugal, are they all going through or somebody going home? I said, I don't think they're all going through. I'm not saying that's going to be Spain, but I'm sticking strong to that statement.
Well, Brazil will undoubtedly be going through if they carry on this form. This will be 6 points from 6, 2 wins out of 2, and the reigning defending champions, maybe with a chip on their shoulder to keep hold of their title.
Massive start for them, as we speak about them, and we spoke about Spain. Turkey, that's also the start you want to have.
I mean, and looking at that Spain-Turkey game as well, Spain struggling to score a goal, Mike. Didn't score in the opening matchup, and they might just score here. Not quite.
It's got to be said, if you're a fan of Turkey as well, this would be huge. 6 points out of 6 points. Less than 10 minutes left to see it out against Spain.
We'll get back to that game. We've just had a massive goal. Australia 1-1 against the champs. 5 minutes left to 10 minutes left to play, sorry.
We gave out too many compliments, Rich.
In that matchup, Australia, I said they had to rebound, and they had to rebound fast. They don't want to be in a similar predicament to the Club World Cup with Team Hollywood. They want to get those points on the board ASAP, and we can see this goal as it happened right now. Cut inside, extra pass, fired past the goalkeeper. Nothing he can do about it whatsoever. And Australia find themselves back in the game.
We have a penalty happening as well. We'll show you that in a few moments' time, because that definitely changed things up in the matchup where it was included. We'll just see if anything happens here. No, let's go over to see that massive, massive moment here.
And this was where the penalty was awarded for. Just a little bit harsh, a little bit of a kerfuffle, you might say.
I have no idea what that word is.
You don't need to know. Inside the box as South Africa and India. It was India, Penenka down the middle. Barely any time in that game left.
Rich looked at me to co-sign a kerfuffle or whatever he said. Scuffle.
Kerfuffle?
Kerfuffle, what did you say?
I'll tell you, what are we doing right now? What are we doing today? That's not a word. Please tell me that's not a word.
We say that.
Is it a word? Kerfuffle?
No.
You should just focus on the game.
You can't tell me you're using that in your day-to-day. I refuse to believe it.
A kerfuffle is a word. We use it in the UK.
What does that mean?
Shall I find the actual definition?
Yeah, hit me with the Wikipedia. What is this?
Well, I can tell you, there's 4 minutes left to play.
Just around. Let's go.
A commotion or a fuss. A commotion in the box.
Penalty caused a commotion.
Clear kerfuffle.
He's going to use that now. He just added that to his thesaurus in his brain. Right, let's carry on. Australia, Brazil. This is, so close between these two. Right. 1 point each, it looks like.
And look, draws, if this tournament continues the way it is and points become premium, they'll do you nothing. They'll be as useful as a bag of rats by the end of the tournament.
Well, big change around for a couple of these teams here. Spain still can't get off the mark. And it looks like this Indian side, as South Africa have the last attack here though, Rich, it looks like. They can just keep hold of these 3 points. It would be big.
We will get one more chance here, South Africa. A reversal has to go inside the box.
Oh, that was lucky.
Just wide of the post. Corner comes in. Let's see what they've got here. If it goes out for another corner, the ref will ball full time. Recycling possession, can't go too far back. And India do win the ball back. 3 points for India on the board.
South Africa will say that's a couple of points gone begging there.
It's different for South Africa. They're now in a new position where they're playing as a favorite. Going into that matchup, we would have said South Africa should beat India because we now have a little more expectation. Remember, they came in before as the underdog, under the radar, house money, free money. Nobody's expecting to progress from the group, and sometimes that gives you a little bit of advantage. You come out, you push a tempo, and you get that extra action.
Well, I think there's one match still going, and that is Portugal. There, we're watching it on our screens. They're still leading Singapore 2-0. Still about 10 minutes left of this one. A lot of time left to still be played.
Yeah, Singapore just trying here to see if they can get back, but as it stands, it's Portugal who's still attacking. Close to a third one there.
I think Petr Cech looks even more ridiculous as a winger, just on a side note. He moves so well. I can't say anything but all sorts of superlatives that I'm going to attach to that item. And he was a fantastic value. If you completed the SBC, then I'm sure you're on board with me. Look at Petr Cech again. Taking space, taking names, doing what he does best.
He could genuinely play about 6 different positions as well. I've seen teams using him on the wing, in centre mid, as a 4-3-2-1, as that attacking central midfield player. It's just mind-blowing that he's so good. It has to be said. Floated to the back post. We talk about him, and he delivers. Petr Cech.
Oh, come on, and he headbutts the corner flag. Let's go.
A helmet made of gold.
Yeah, an interesting aspect. We also saw Milinkovic-Savic being very, very strong box-to-box centre mid for Leipzig, I believe it was, and also other teams as well. And we also spoke about, at least Mike, you mentioned Group C would be really, really tight. This result makes it even more even. But also Group D, I mean, teams are beating each other, teams are drawing. We saw Peru as well, getting a point against Germany. So, I mean, both groups seem quite open.
Time will tell. I still find it hard to believe in Group D that we're not going to have Israel, Germany, and Sweden kind of leading that group. Maybe that 4th spot opens up a little bit, which would be different than what I said earlier on. I thought it'd be a very clear-cut with South Africa kind of leading that role. But we'll see. Time will tell. We still got a lot of games.
Yeah, we just saw an upset, didn't we? Between South Africa and India. India winning that matchup there. This one not so much of a surprise. Portugal then take the 3 points and 3 goals over Singapore. And that just does confirm all the matches then in round 2. Well, let's head over to Spencer then. He's up at the top of the arena with the Brazilian duo. Are they going to be partying at the end of the 4 days here, Spen? Have they got any dances planned? I'd love to hear a bit about I guess what they're going to bring this year. Glasses? What have they got?
Well, I think we'll have to wait to the 4th day to find out about that one. But they are the reigning champs, of course, Rachel. I'm here with the man who masterminded the victory this time last year. Obviously, you must be very proud still of your achievements, but this is a new year. And talk to us about the team selection this year, because we've been talking about it a little bit on the couch. A slightly different side.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. This year we made a little bit different on the choices. So got 3 requires, trophies, consistency, and moment of the season. So the best 3 guys on those 3 criteria have been chosen.
And your first game was a win against Portugal. Is that considered a bit of a rivalry, the 2 Portuguese-speaking nations? You happy to win that one?
I don't think as a rival. We're really good friends. We know each other for a couple of years, but it is always a good match.
And that was followed with a draw with Australia. Talk to us about that game.
Yeah, we lose our game, mind a little bit on the middle of the second half, but that happens, and we already build up for the next match.
Brazil, of course, the most successful football nation of all time, really. You're looking to become that for FIFA as well by being the first team to win back-to-back trophies?
Yeah, for sure. We have been prepared in training for this time. I still got the wristband from the season.
Wow. After that, he's still got it on. Maybe we'll have another one for next year as well. Best of luck in your next game, Brazil. I'm going to head downstairs now. I want to talk to the only team in the competition currently that has won all their games. And that is, of course, the guys from Turkey. So I'm just going to join their booth. Back-to-back wins. They'll be very happy. Again, perhaps surprising some people that weren't maybe expecting it. Here we are in the Turkey booth. So I was just saying, maybe some people weren't expecting you to start by winning both your games, but did you see it coming?
I think it was expected for the people who practice with us. My teammates really playing really good. They so good in the 2v2 mode. And yeah, I was expecting it as well. And next up is against the world champ Brazil. We still are confident.
What a game that is going to be. Huge game for both teams, both unbeaten so far. Do you see yourself as a potential favourite to win the group now and maybe even win the tournament?
Yeah, for sure. After the game against Spain, I just saw that my teammates really are one of the best here right now. And yeah, I think we are one of the favourites.
Just saw your goal there against Spain. Spain with back-to-back losses. So listen, the group's wide open. Talk to us about your team. How was it put together?
You mean about the players?
Yes.
We just built. All teams are similar, I think, but our right and left back are a bit different. We really need Frankie de Jong for the right back. He's really important for us.
Okay, Frankie de Jong, key player for Turkey. Listen, it's a very happy camp here. 2 wins back-to-back. Let's see if they can make it 3 in the next matchup. Back to you, Rachel.
Thank you very much, Spen. Yeah, big match next for Turkey. They are taking on Brazil. That's going to be pretty exciting as well. That is 1 and 2 in this group taking on each other. Well, I think the big story so far, I already mentioned it during those matchups, is Spain. On the bottom, 0 points, no goals. What's going wrong? Aggie?
Yeah, it's a really good question because both players were here last week with Need and Doni. Need had a bit more success than Doni had, but it's still 2 players you would expect to get points from the beginning and dominate, but they got to turn this around. It's not going to be easy because now they're up against Portugal and they will start to feel the pressure if they don't get 3 points here.
I don't know if it's that surprising. Neat didn't score a bunch of goals with Zizinho, and Doni didn't score goals with Tuga.
And Neat knocks Andoni out, basically.
Yeah, and we watched this days ago. They both struggled with scoring there. If there's one critique for both of those teams, even though, of course, with Ducks they had more success, they weren't scoring a bunch of goals.
How much do they play together, Rich? Do they play a lot together?
There's one thing that's different from Andoni last week, from Neat. Zidane, you've lost 2 games. let's change things up. Let's get a new player in there. He's waiting. He's been very, very impactful in this Spanish team for a long time. He's been an E-Liga champion. He has done it before on the big stage. I think maybe you run a Neat and a Neat and Zidane team. Andoni takes a sit out. If that doesn't work, you change it up again. And you mix and match.
Do they practice a lot together, then, Mike? That is something that I'd still like to know. Obviously, we see the Ducks kind of setup, which is very professional, very thorough over in Madrid. But do they come together a lot as a national team?
Yeah, collectively, they've been working all year. I'd probably agree with Rich here. It's not our decision. We don't always know every intricacy as well, what's happening behind the scenes in terms of mentality, who's working well together, who doesn't even like each other sometimes. But I'd like to see a change because it is confirmed, not only today, but in previous days as well, that Andoni and Neat, they're doing great defensively, but they're not scoring a bunch of goals.
I think there's a lot of respect and support for both of them. We actually saw, didn't we, Neat and Andoni tweet each other last week when they knocked each other out. I mean, Ducks Neat, that was to Andoni. So there's a lot of respect there, and they were looking forward to playing in this competition together. Rich, have a look behind, see if there's any movement while I take us through the standings here after 2 matches. Can you see anything happening over there? Right, standings. Rich is getting his glasses out, and I'm going to take you through Group C. Turkey, 6 points. We heard from them earlier with Spencer. They take on the Brazilians next, who are in second with 4 points. Portugal then, 3 points next to Tuga and his side after a successful second round of matches there. Singapore then as well, 3 points, 1 win next to them. Australia, they just had a draw against Brazil, and Spain, they were the talk of the couch a few moments ago. 2 losses and no goals. Richard, have you got an update?
Yeah, Spain still running the same team. It's going to be Andoni and Neat for that roster. For Portugal, Tuga is still out, to my understanding, for that next round. It's going to be Jafonso and Rodrigo. One team that I can tell you has made a change, Paulo Neto, looks to be in the hot seat. He is going to be stepping up to the mark. Expect goals. Expect goals from Brazil.
Well, just bring you up to quick speed on Group D. That quickly went before I got a chance to speak about it. Israel 4 as a Germany there. Again, Mike was saying those two are going to go through with ease, possibly. Here we go, India 3, a massive, massive result for them a few moments ago. It was great to see them get the win over South Africa. For them to get 3 points was big, especially after last year here. Sweden then 2, South Africa 1 and Peru 1. Matches starting left, right, centre. Let's get into them. Spain, Portugal, this is the one we want to see. This is so important for that Spanish side. No movement yet, as confirmed by Richard there. And Portugal, the momentum is definitely with the Portuguese side right now.
They played in the playoffs, Spain and Portugal. It was Andoni and Neat in the 10th round. In the middle round, it was a 1-1 draw between Spain and Portugal, and that was Zidane and Jose Ballion who played against Portugal. Spain got the upper hand in the playoffs, however, both teams obviously made it to the knockouts.
That suggests they will have movement then, Rich?
More than likely, yes. Just not right now. Maybe because you know what you're playing against. You're playing against a side that you've matched previously in tournaments. You know what to expect. Spain and Portugal could be a stalemate. However, India and Sweden is certainly not, as the Swedes go 1-0 up after the opening 5 minutes.
Well, India then, they did just get that big win, didn't they, over South Africa? They really want to back that up, but Sweden, we mentioned how strong the 3 Swedish FIFA players are in that. So expect some great results for them. Back, though, to this matchup here. And, Rich, maybe between this round of fixtures and the next, we'll see that change because there's a little bit more of a break for them to discuss and actually kind of say, do you want to sit in? Should we change things up?
Yeah, I just don't know if I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot today, but I don't know if this Spanish side, the one-legged format, it really hurts them.
It hurts a lot of teams, though.
Yeah, they played against England in the winners' bracket, first round matchup. Spain versus England to qualify. For the Spanish roster, it was Andoni and Neat. They beat England 2-0 over 2 legs. maybe just played a little bit too slow in one leg.
Just feel like the combination of these two players are amazing. I mean, you have Andoni, who's super controlled and very, very strong in the defense, also have the leader role, as we just see here, Sweden getting a second one. And then you have Riyadh, who can do the unpredictable stuff with the amazing skill moves. I mean, when you're presenting that idea to me before they're actually playing, I would say, okay, that's a really, really good combination. But something is not clicking, and maybe that break will be good for them. Maybe it will be bad. If they go on to win this match, they rather want to continue, perhaps. So, yeah, a lot of question marks right now on the Spanish team.
Yeah, they just need to get off at 0 points, really, a bit like we saw from USA earlier on today. They got a draw, and then they got that final win, didn't they, in the end, and just picked up a couple of points to give them that confidence heading into tonight, where they can chat about it and come back really strong and firing tomorrow.
You saw Peru taking the lead against South Africa right there. That's up in Group D for Peru. A team we've not really spoke about too much, DMS 10, a player you might be familiar with if you watched a lot of the at-home broadcast. He was featured quite frequently over there. And also Magic from South America, also. Great team as Peru leading versus South Africa. Nothing really to take note of against Spain and Portugal here. A bit of a stalemate.
I mean, Aggie was saying he didn't really know what to expect from the Peruvian side there, Rich. From what you've seen of them online, what kind of style do they play, considering they're at 1 goal up against South Africa right now?
Yeah, very attacking. A lot of the time we've seen them over 2 legs during the South American qualifiers, but just get the biggest compliment that you can give to any team is actually making it, especially through South America. When you look at the teams that haven't made it, Colombia, great FIFA nation, you probably expect. Ecuador, we've seen really good things from in previous Nations Cups and previous tournaments. South America is a hotbed for FIFA talent, so to get through that region, I think it tells you all you need to know.
Expect a dark horse then, here.
I think they'll go through.
Well, if they're going through, some of us are getting our results a little bit wrong then, aren't we, here? We'll have to see. What did we say for groups C and D? Rich, you went Spain and Israel, and
yep.
Aggie, you went Spain and Sweden.
Well, Spain's not been great so far, have they? 0 points.
I went Brazil and Sweden, and Mike went Portugal, Germany. So actually a mixture between the 4 of us here.
Anyone who said Sweden, you're rubbing your hands at the moment. They're 3-0 up, and we can see the 3rd goal. Mistake at the back from India, just a little bit too slow on the ball. Green time to finish into the bottom corner. Sweden look to have gone into another gear.
Yeah, it seems like they're just getting started now, and a lot of key games going on right now, I feel. Israel, Germany as well. It's a big one. 2 of the teams you would expect is playing for that first place in the group as well. And then you have Peru and South Africa playing, which could be the one for the 3rd or the 4th place in the group. So, I mean, a lot of games here which we would call like a 6-point game.
I do love a 6-pointer. Do you think we might get, I mean, with such contested teams, or you just mentioned there, Singapore and Australia, points are essential. Israel versus Germany, points are essential. Spain versus Portugal could lead to draws.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be really, really, really tight here. And I mean, looking at all of the screens, you also have Brazil-Turkey. That's also the top match as it stands right now in Group C. Spain-Portugal, obviously, I should say Spain didn't get anything yet, but
I mean, we've been following this game, 45 minutes gone. We've not seen a lot. This could be potentially a chance here for Spain in and around the box, breaking the deadlock. Not yet. Portugal defend well.
Maybe a question for Francisco, the coach of Portugal. Spencer could ask him. He took Tuga out of this match. Maybe it has something to do with his partnership with Andoni. Maybe there's something Andoni knows. That's some of the small margins you can, or forwards you can make as a coach going into the match.
I'm sure we can get Spen to ask that question. I was interested in this game as well. Germany and Israel, 2 big powerhouses in this group. Mike, you're back with us. not really something that we're surprised at here, that no one can break the deadlock between these two big teams.
I mean, across the board, it's 0-0s everywhere. Singapore,
so
Australia,
close.
Turkey, Brazil, Israel, Germany, even Peru and South Africa. It's only the 1 goal separating them in a 1-0. It's just not a high-scoring round this far. It can be like that.
Well, the Brazil-Turkey game is back underway, and then this one as well. Bit of action here.
Interesting, we saw Levy Finn in, Dylan Mike start of the day, but Levy Finn is now in alongside Umut, and that Levy Finn Umut duo, if you wanted to emulate potentially the closest thing to Anders and Umut, I think that's it. I think Levy Finn's probably a little bit closer to Anders than Dylan Mike is, and maybe you can activate Umut in that way. It's all about what your partner can do for you rather than I think how you gel together. How can you activate your teammate to get an extra 2, 3, 4, 5% out of them, and that potentially could be what Levy Finn is brought in to do.
He's on the fly rotations. I don't know if I agree with him or disagree with him. I'm still trying to figure it out. 2v2s are still relatively new to the FIFA scene. Yes, we've seen them now for a couple years. They've been involved, but some of the formats and the progression or regression, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. When you make a good switch, we're going to sit here and say, that was genius. When you sub in somebody and it doesn't work, then we're going to sit there and question your decision-making. I just don't think there's enough game or enough time. And a lot of these single, not elimination, but these single matches, they're not even 2 legs, to really get into the flow, to really be in rhythm, especially if you're coming off the bench.
That's why it's so important just to grind out the games here and make sure you get through to day 3, and that's when the games really begin with these 2-leggers, knockout FIFA, what we want to see, and they want to perform in.
Well, we were speaking just about Germany there with the rotation. They started the day against India, Levy Finn and Umut. Second game, they swapped Dylan Mike and Umut. Third game, they've swapped again, and to me that looks like it's premeditated. Levy Finn and Umut, every duo has had a chance to play together, so they've all got reps under the belt.
But what's the point of premeditated switches or adjustments? You want to do it where you feel like you actually have a competitive advantage. All right, if I'm making a change, I'm just putting myself in this position, hypothetically speaking. If I'm making a shift, I want to get or receive some sort of incentive for that adjustment.
You change until you find what's right, and then when you've got what's right, you stick. In my eyes, like you swap until you go.
It's not the time to do practice. Like Allen Iverson, practice? You're talking practice? I don't think that reference is going to hit with anybody on this couch, but it's a classic moment.
But you always say the friendly games.
Yeah, you should have been decided who's playing where and why.
Yeah, but some people play so well in the friendly games, they come out here and it doesn't really click, Mike, and then they need to go to plan B.
That's still an adjustment. To your point, that's not predetermined. That's because you weren't putting up the way that I thought you were going to be able to deliver. Therefore, we're making a change, a substitution, an adjustment. I'm a tactician.
They're different.
What's the saying? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no one correct answer here. I feel like there are different ways of doing this. I agree a little bit with you, Mike. I agree a little bit with Rach and Rich as well. I mean, things can change all the time. Things can evolve in a way you didn't expect. You can't plan. I agree with you in the way that you can't please everyone. Like, that's just how it is. If you want to win, you can't please everyone.
Well, let me paint a picture. August is playing. August, you just have a fantastic game in your 2v2. Because we want to get repetitions, we sub you out to bring in that third player. And now when you come back on, you're a little cold. You don't feel the same way. You're not managed. We didn't need to make that change. We already had something that was working. We were getting results.
They're that confident that every one of their players has a great ability.
They don't have a weak player.
That they want everyone warm for when they get to the knockouts, they get for these real crunch games. They go, it doesn't matter who we feel because all our players have played with each other throughout the last 2-3 days that we know they can perform.
It's just, I would personally say it's just a high risk to take because you take that risk of having one of your players getting a bit cold, as Mike say, and losing some momentum. But I'm also pretty sure that all the coaches informs their players beforehand if they're going to do something. They're not just going to pull out something surprising for the player, because that could affect the player in a negative way, right?
I'm not taking the food out of the dog's mouth. And then I'm asking him to come back on and he's still going to be hungry.
Well, Sven needs to ask that question as well, doesn't he? He's got a question for Germany. And he's got a question over there for Portugal as well. Why do Germany keep switching their players, and why is Tuga sat out against Andoni?
But what if the dog's never fed originally? What?
Great. I need him to stay that hungry. I need a savage. I need an animal.
I don't agree with you have 2 players, you play all your games, and then when something goes wrong, you bring someone who's not played a single minute of the entire tournament. That's
They're
not
nervous
fair on
then.
that
I
player.
think you stick it out. If you have been playing with 2 players, it's working, you're getting the results, you're committed to them, you're dedicated to the action. Apparently we're going to have a big debate on the couch about this. It's ongoing.
Peru have just gone 2-0 up against South Africa. Adam is a little bit of a dark horse in this tournament. Brazil and Turkey are still 0-0, but that could be changing very shortly indeed. Good defending from the top of the table. Clash here in Group C. Just having a look across the rest of the game. Sweden cruising at this current moment against India, 3-0. Israel leading 1-0 against Germany. Singapore and Australia 0-0. And as we saw earlier, Spain and Portugal still in that pause, 68 minutes on the clock. Nothing you have missed whatsoever. 0-0.
There's quite a lot of games without goals there, Rich, isn't it? It's pretty surprising, actually, in the first day of a massive competition like this, when we all talk about we don't really want to see these draws. 1 points aren't always enough when we get into day 2, and you have to find yourselves in the top 4 spaces to go through.
Could be a chance here for Turkey, right on the edge of the box. Minutes remaining. Good chance, good save. Corner coming in. Not long to go here. Edge of the box. Recycle the possession. We've already seen a couple of corners won and scored during the groups so far. As we get another corner here. Good to give you the updates from around the grounds. Peru now 3-0 up. If you are wondering what is happening over there, South Africa trailing 3-0 against the Peruvians with a point to prove.
And this is Peru then getting their 3rd goal and really sinking that South African side there. And that's a little bit surprising considering how strong they were last week.
Been night and day difference. I don't see the same energy, the same output.
Same hunger from them? Maybe they really, like we just heard from them a little bit earlier. They said they made history last week. Maybe they kind of felt that was good enough.
Maybe the food and the dog reference is working.
They were fed last week.
Mm-hmm. Now they're full. I need them to be hungry.
They also made a change in the team as well in the second matchup.
So we're going to blame the new dog.
Puppy.
That's why they need to play. Anyway, let's stick
Spain and Portugal.
with Spain and Portugal.
There's been changes in the teams throughout Portugal's side so far. Not quite been able to get it clicking, have the Portuguese side thus far. Spain just knocking the ball around. No real chance to go forward as of yet. This could be the chance they were waiting for. A lot of space out wide here for Spain. Entering the box. All systems go here for the Spaniards. Twisting, turning. Portugal get bodies around it and just edge him out of play. One back in the corner. Still on for Spain. What a save.
They have to convert there. They got a big takeaway, big mistake, huge error from Portugal. Right place, right time. They aim towards the near post. I think it's the wrong choice. A little bit of goalkeeper movement, but you have to convert.
Well, we're going to go and see the game between Israel and Germany. Israel have been leading the match for most of this, and, well, the Germans, they just got one back as well, with not much time left to play on that one.
Classic wing play. Seeing a lot of that on display in day 1 of E-Nations. Take it down the end line, look for the pass back, resurface it, and you have your finish, your tap in. Time Green always is an extra helper that you love to see.
Be a late bit of drama here for Spain. 2 chances in this final 10 minutes where the goalkeeper has bailed Portugal out.
I guess these chances sums up what we've been debating about Spain pretty well. I mean, decision making in terms of getting that goal, and it can get into you. You'll start overthink the chances you get. Maybe do a dribbling too much or pass too much, or
The build-up's been there, the approach play's been right, but you're not having that final touch. You talk about being clinical, the importance of being clinical, being able to take those chances, those opportunities, playing the percentages, and you only have a half second. It's got to be sort of instinctive in terms of what you want to do in those scenarios, and it's been what's been punishing them. They haven't had that.
Peru have been great so far. Unlike India, who trailed 3-0 here against Sweden.
I feel like a broken record, but if you don't score goals, you're not going to win games. That would be 3 games consecutively without scoring a goal for Spain.
India just trying to get a late consolation here. Could come down to goal difference in this group. You never know. Every goal matters.
Yeah, we've seen how much that could go on and be vital.
Two minutes left then here. From what we've seen, it doesn't look like anyone's going to take the spoils in this matchup.
Portugal just played for the last attack, trying to manipulate the ball into a space where they can attack with no worry of conceding up the other end. That's exactly what they'll do with the ball out wide, played in field, little elastico, dinked in the air. They'll win the second header. Is it going to fall nicely for Portugal? Not on this occasion. The referee was up for full time. A point apiece. Andoni Neat, Rodrigo and Jafonso, 0-0.
Yeah, 0-0 then in that big European derby we had there. And I know Spencer's around there. And Spen, I don't know who you're going to first, but we'd love to see as well when you do go to one of the teams, why there was that change for Tuga there, why Tuga jumped out of that Portuguese side when they took on Spain, who I know you're going to speak to there. We were saying, Spen, is that because maybe Andoni knew something about Tuga's performance that, they didn't want to play against each other? They know each other so well. So Andoni might know why Tuga didn't play against him. Maybe you can ask him that.
Yes, I am here with Andoni now. You just went up against Portugal, big rivalry game. Tuga, your teammate from Riders, didn't play. Do you think it's because he thinks you know too much about him?
No, I think because Rodrigo and Afonso are more attack than Tuga. They play so good, and 0-0 another time, but I am confident.
So we'll talk about your performance so far. That's your first point. You had 2 losses in the first 2 games, so it's an improvement, but you're still looking for your first goal. What do you need to change?
I think that we're playing better than our opponents, but I need calm in the box, the rival, and I think the next match I can win.
Okay, next match, very important for Spain. Good luck. I'm just going to cross over the stage here. I want to talk to the boys from down under in Australia because they also are looking for their first win. They've got 2 draws, so 1 more point than Spain so far. Mark told me last week, never been grouped. Is that going to still be the case this time tomorrow?
I hope it is. We're just a little bit off, but we have a lot of potential to get out of the group comfortably.
What have you got to do to unlock that potential?
I'll just play more confident, a bit less mistakes in the box. I've made a few in the back line, but other than that, we should be fine.
Okay, let's talk to your coach here. Marcus is getting involved. What's it like looking after these boys?
Oh, it's great. I mean, we've got a really strong group, but to have these 2, I'm really confident. I mean, we haven't got a lot of points at the start here, but it's a long way to go.
Well, the good news is you've actually got double the points that Mark had at this time last week after 5 games, after 3. So he got out of that group unbelievably with Hollywood, 1 point from the opening day. What's your target now? You've got 2 points so far, 2 games left.
I think we'd love to end today on 5 points. I think so, winning next to these 2. Spain's also struggling to get points with us, so we know that last game's going to be big. But this game against Portugal is also massive as well. So if we can sneak a win here, it's a great day.
Fantastic stuff. Some really big games coming up. Every game gets big from this sort of point onwards. Let's see what happens, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. It's so nice as well to see Marcus Gomes back in real life. I only ever see him in front of a screen, behind a screen. I haven't seen him probably since FIFA 19 now. It's been a long while, so good to see him back there as well. And we got our question answered, didn't we, about the Spain-Portugal matchup there. Andoni said he felt the Portuguese duo there were more attacking, even though they didn't get any goals, Aggie.
Yeah, that could be at least Spain's theory about Portugal. Maybe they have a different one, but it makes sense from Andoni's point of view. And yeah, didn't come any goals out of it. So who's happy? I don't know.
Oh, well, let's just go to a wide shot here of our studio, because I just saw Alex jump in. I didn't even know he'd joined us there. Hello, welcome, Alex B, to the studio. You snuck in there without me noticing. I'm sure you're watching all the matches backstage there, and obviously the talk there was Spain, still yet to really get off the mark. They now got a point, but still no goals. We were really surprised at that. Were you?
Very much so. I think when you're looking at Neat and Andoni, we know how good Neat is in that attacking area. It's only a matter of time, though. I think at some point they've eventually got to start clicking. We saw Neat last week with the goal that he did, where he just took it past the goalkeeper, just showing that class and quality that he has. Something's got to click sooner rather than later for them. But Portugal, that's probably the team which I'm a little bit more surprised with at the minute.
Yeah, exactly. Well, still a long way to go. Still 2 more games today, then they come back and do it all again. 5 more matches tomorrow. Well, Spen's just surprised us. He's going to give us another interview as well. This time he's with the Peruvian side. Spen, over to you.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes, I'm with the Peruvian coach here. Listen, you've had one of every result. You've had a loss, a draw, and a win, but it's going in the right direction. You're picking up points. How are you feeling?
We're feeling good. I think we're playing really good games. We have 2 clean sheets against Germany, which is a really strong team. We didn't concede any shots too, so it's a really good motivation for us.
And you've got Sweden next. What are you thinking about that game? Same approach?
Yeah, we're expecting the same. We faced them the last year, so we hopefully can win them this year.
And if you come to the E-Nations tournament here with a particular target in mind, what would a successful tournament be for Peru?
Winning. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else for Peru. That's what's on their mind. They got a win in their last game, their first of the tournament. Can they follow it up with a win against the Swedes?
Well, Richard was saying, wasn't he, how strong the South Americans are, and obviously Peru had a difficult task to get here anyway. So for them to be here and now be winning as well, Spen said they've done a hat-trick here of different things. They've got a draw, they've got a win, and they've got a loss. So yeah, let's see how they get on in the final 2 fixtures of today. Well, I wanted just to bring your attention to a little bit of a collaboration as well that FIFA have been doing. It's part of the Good Game Promise, and it's with Ditch the Label. So Ditch the Label are a company who really focus on anti-cyber bullying as one of their big points. And actually we got to experience a bit of what they're about a couple of weeks ago. They came to Zurich. They were part of the Fame Her Game boot camp here. And they're really, helping to stand and unite against the toxicity that some of us may experience online as well. And FIFA are committing 900 hours to trying to counteract some of the abuse and harassment that we do experience online in this sport. So a big shout out then to Ditch the Label. Well, let's continue then with our conversation about what we've been seeing so far in groups C and D. Well, we have a pause now, so it's a great time just to have a quick look at the standings as we go into the last 2 rounds of fixtures today. Who are we really looking for, guys, to get a big result? Alex, I'm going to come to you. Who do you think's going to turn up in these last 2 matches of the day?
I'm going to back Australia. Mark Levin has said multiple times he's never been grouped, and he's going to carry on with that performance, I would imagine, and stick up to that hype that he has with himself. So Australia to get at least the 5 points that Marcus was saying there that they need.
Mike, the South Africans, can they not draw on last week's experience here and get off the bottom of this table?
Haven't been great. I'm still stuck with Spain a little bit. I'm just so surprised that they're at the bottom of Group C, and maybe not just that they're at the bottom, but how they've looked, or the lack of offense that we've kind of been showcased, or lack of showcase. We haven't really had that type of action. A lot of the other teams, where they are is what I expected. Maybe you didn't expect Turkey to lead Group C, but Israel, Sweden, and Germany, that was always the front 3 in Group B for me all day, every day.
Buckley would tell you that Turkey, England, you may have expected it.
Great side. Really, really good side. I didn't expect them to be leading, but I thought probably in the 3rd, 4th range, if I'm being brutally honest. I thought Spain would have been better. there's a long way left to play. I still think Spain go through, but they've got a lot to do.
We're looking at how tight Group D is as well. Israel, Sweden and Germany all on the same points. They're all playing the teams in the second half of that group as well going forward. So after round 4, they could yet again all be on the same points, which makes it so close, doesn't it, in Group D? So much to play for in round 5 a little bit later on.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking at Peru as well. We just heard the interview. It was nice to hear a little bit from them because them coming into the competition, at least for my sake, didn't know a lot, and I got some of my questions answered so far. It's a team that's definitely here to play with the best.
I'm having a look at what our featured matchup should be next. I'm going to put you guys on the spot as well. Which matchup would you like to see? There's some big ones. We've got South Africa, Germany, Sweden, Peru, and India, Israel in Group D. Any one of those 3 sticking out? Alex, you're new to the party tonight, so I'm going to ask you.
I just want to keep seeing more of Israel, to be honest with you.
That's what I was hoping you were going to say.
Well,
Give him a nudge.
We want the Israel matchup then in Group D. Group C, boys, Brazil, Spain, Turkey, Singapore, Australia, Portugal.
I'm going to stop you straight away. Brazil, Spain.
I know you were about to.
If Spain can get a result in that matchup, that they find themselves flying up the table, is it going to happen?
It's got to. It's got to start now. It's got to start now.
I mean, I think Brazil are just too strong.
Well,
Can we get a video of that?
Oh, stop throwing your pen at me, Mike
My
Lebel.
bad.
The match is starting. We're getting into them. South Africa, Germany. We asked for Israel. We'll see them in a short while. They haven't started.
Must win game here for South Africa. Marooned at the bottom of the table, 1 point. Germany are doing well so far here. As you can see, the selection of players.
Israel is the last matchup. That will start here today. Israel, of course, taking on India. Right, this is the one that Alex wanted to watch, nudged by Mike Lebel. We're treated to it.
Yeah, I'm expecting goals galore in this game from both sides, giving us a nice entertaining match in the 4th group stage game. Aggie, Israel, how much have you been impressed by them? Have they lived up to the expectations that you had for them?
I think we had a huge expectation to them coming in. Obviously just waiting for that last breakthrough from the players, but all 3 of them have the capacity to go all the way, and especially as a unit, I think. So Israel, impressive, and they already played against Germany, they already played against Sweden. Now they have, at least on paper, 2 more comfortable games, so I expect them to get 6 points.
Big statement there from Aggie. Israel looking at 6 points in these last 2 remaining fixtures, which would put them in a very good position. As we move over to the game between South Africa and Germany, it is Germany taking
Probably
that.
What you expected?
I mean, the way that it's been going right now for South Africa, yes, I would say.
It's not been great.
It
That's
hasn't.
safe to say.
And the good luck charm of Richard Butley hasn't been coming through.
I've not been down in between games, that's why.
Get down there. What you doing sat up here? Go on. Take your mic. Can do some commentary from the booth.
Do the show from down there. I'll just give radio commentary from the South African booth.
Sideline reporter there, Richard Allen's called. Right, let's go over to Singapore and Turkey. We've had an early goal in this one.
You can see that goal coming in from Turkey. Having a great tournament thus far here at the FIFAe Nations Cup. Quite a young roster of players. And Singapore, unfortunately, just not able to live up to it at this moment.
And Mike and Alex wanted the Israel-India game as well. Because they thought it was going to be exciting, they thought Israel were going to continue to dominate.
You're going to like this opener.
The man, the one, the only, Milinkovic-Savic there.
You know what? I'll take that for a breakdown, too. If you can throw it to me, production, I'll take that one for a little breakdown there. We'll give Savic some love. He has changed the way that people play with a lot of the knockdowns, a lot of the crossing options, just the size, presence, and power that I know you love and support oh so much.
For sure, and there it isn't even so much about him being 6'8". There's obviously plenty of players that we've seen, Petr Cech, for example, fulfilling that role. Just triggering that man at the back stick, and then the timing of the cross is to perfection as you're about to beat that defensive line, giving Milinkovic-Savic the easiest job in the world to put Israel 1-0 up.
And that's what we'd expect, wouldn't we, from that team from Israel. I think we probably, well, we've spoken about them a lot, but possibly I should have put them a little bit higher up in my predictions, my estimations for this tournament here, Mike.
It's still early. I've just been feeling bold, and that's how we've been laying out for Group C and Group D especially. Making all sorts of statements, predictions, manifestations.
It's not surprising that like Yuval is probably one of the favourites even next week at the E-World Cup. He's the #1 player in Europe at this moment. We said that Brazil versus Spain was a must-win game for Spain. However, it looked unlikely with the dominance that Brazil have shown thus far here in the tournament. And Brazil got 1-0 up again.
Yeah, if they were to go to lose this match, Spain, just as we speak about it, there has been a goal more. But if they were to lose this match, Spain, I'll say they're in big, big trouble. I mean, especially how balanced the group is. Teams are beating each other, so yeah, that's really not good.
And you see Israel's in double trouble. Same with Brazil here, walks it around the goalkeeper. Spain just has not been up to par. And I'll tell you what, Israel on the virtual pitch reminds me of Croatia on the actual pitch. We talk about football with smaller nations that have big-time performers and guys that make a huge difference.
Since Paulo Neto came into the team, by the way, Brazil have just looked a different animal. It has to be said.
That first goal we saw there from Brazil, just all about that confidence in the drive with R9 to just attack the space. The defender's just not there. Brilliant footwork from Turkey. Richard, we were speaking to the third player there behind previously, and they were saying they just attack. They have no fear in what they do, Turkey. They're young. They just want to come here. They want to score goals. And right now it's showing exactly how they want to play.
Yeah, absolutely. Turkey are a side that could go far in this tournament. I'm going to put that out there right now. Just the way that they play FIFA, they were, even against England in the qualifiers, I was commentating that game for England. England were 3-0 down in the first leg. Like, the game was almost over before the second leg even started. Germany, another side which huge expectations, leading 1-0 against what could only be described as quite a dismal South African side after the great performance last week at the Club World Cup. Could Israel, Mike, Alex, Aga, could they be what top?
If I've already made a statement on this, I put them in the top 4.
But is that a top 4 as an eliminated semi-finalist, or do you think they've got the quality to go on and win it?
They have the quality to go on and win it, in my opinion, but I just feel safely about making a statement that I see them as a top 4 nation in this 2v2 format.
I don't disagree.
With you as well on that. I think the quality that you have in that roster sees you possibly going all the way to the final, but definitely a top 4 finish for Israel. If they carry on playing the way they are as well, we know day 1, day 2, yes, it can be different, but by now, with this result, you'd imagine they've probably done enough to just see themselves over that line.
I also don't see in 2 legs them getting worse. I only see them getting better. Where the game extends, I see their quality continuing to shine.
And I have a theory here. You have 3 players that are peaking. They're performing at the best of the best, but also they don't have as much depth in that nation. Therefore, these have always kind of been the
front
3.
three are the front 3.
These are the 3. I bring that up because there's less politicking. There's not about movement of rosters and squads. You've known who you're going to work with from the jump, from the rip, every single FIFA season, at least in the past 3 years.
Yeah, and it is actually a big advantage because if you come from, obviously you want to have as many good players as possible as a coach, but I think from the perspective you're mentioning it makes super good sense, and it's also just give less troubles internally because you know you're the 3 main guys and you're going to play. You are the best in your country. No debates, no one questioning it, no one doubting you. I think they have the entire package to go forward.
It's a bit like this year when we had 2 of the Leipzig players at the E-Champions League final. I remember a couple of years ago when we had both of the boys from Israel at the E-Champions League final, top 8 in Europe. You kind of just go, oh yeah, that's how good they are. You can get both of their top players here. Okay, they didn't get to the final, but they really put them on the map that year, I felt.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just a lot of...
Should have had a third.
Yeah.
Even the chance before that led to the corner kick. Israel's all over India right now.
Yeah, this 3 points wrapped up. Signed, sealed and delivered. Australia and Portugal. Portugal, I feel like I'm in a dream at this moment that just keeps going round and round and round. Portugal, 0-0. Again. And
they're not scoring many goals, but they're quite good at not letting any in as well.
Oh, is this like a deja vu type dream? Is this a nightmare type dream?
Whatever you want it to be.
I'm not. It's your dream.
Yeah, but you're invited as well. Step in. I mean, the thing is, it's the exact same scenario as what happened with Athletic and Riders. Draws won't do enough for you, especially when other teams in your group are picking up wins and picking up points, just as Sweden and Peru seem to be doing. This time the Swedes opening up, 55 minutes on the clock, killing Mbappe, team of the foot item. Peru won't be too disheartened by that.
A lovely touch there too. Just a little ball roll to give you that angle. We talk about it a lot, but angles are everything in FIFA, from crossing, long shooting, inside the box, outside the box. You want to make a big switch of the pitch, the extra pass, the cross, all inclusive.
Said Peru wouldn't be too disheartened by going 1 goal down. They've been very good throughout this tournament thus far. We can tell you there has been another goal in that game. Is it Sweden doubling their lead, or will have Peru levelled up? I can tell you, Peru levelled up in that game. 1-1. It was Thierry Henry with the goal. One of those players from the open pool, seems to be in every single nation's side, just because he is so good.
Also, I'd love to get this Brazil and Spain game on screen if we can. It's 2-1 to Brazil. Spain started to kind of begin the comeback, at least make it sound or feel like there could be a comeback. We just haven't seen them score any goals.
That was the goal for Spain.
The first goal of the tournament as well, if you are just joining us. You didn't hear us incorrectly. They've been struggling a little bit to find the back of the net, and it's great to see them do it actually against that Brazilian side, the defending champions. They can do it there, maybe that gives them heart going forward in the tournament as well.
Sometimes it can just be one moment, one goal, one shot, one opportunity, a creative spark.
Okay, Eminem.
To get the moment rolling. So if you do find yourself struggling at the bottom of the table, you will lose yourself in the pack.
Let's not go there, Richard.
Don't you get me? I'll get involved. I will say that the Spain, I think we sometimes give them a little too much credit as well with Neat. I've always said this, he's the FIFA player. He does so many things on the virtual pitch that I wish I had in my locker. But at the same time, not to make it too much of a pun, but he's almost too neat, too precise. He waits for the absolute perfect opportunity with a lot of those working in, the extra step over, the final cancellation, all the additional skill moves. And you can be simple. Sometimes you can be simple. Combine that type of play.
Well, let's go back then. We were speaking about how South Africa have really struggled to find the form they showed us last week. They're up against the German side, and this is what we just saw a few moments ago. Maybe they just found their feet again here.
That's nice.
Maybe it's just taking a bit longer today.
Yeah, very nice. McGeady cancel right there, exiting in the right direction to get the angle there, and it's important for South Africa to bounce back. I mean, they're a little bit on the edge of failure and success here for the first day, a middle mix of feelings. So to get a point here, perhaps or 3, would be massive for them.
That's something there that Spain could take out of South Africa's book. You just mentioned, Mike, how sometimes you be a little bit too neat with it. The Begidi cancel comes through. There's 2 defenders kind of stood there in the way. Instead, South Africa happy to just take that shot, take the gamble, see if we can get the shot on goal. Don't worry about the defenders being in the way. And they got rewarded with an equaliser against Germany.
Well, let's have a quick look then around the different matches here. We're looking at this one, Brazil-Spain 2-1. Turkey, we didn't show that third goal there, but Turkey are still winning, and that's in the match against Singapore, 3-0 there. Australia-Portugal is still the one we've been chatting about, though. 0-0 in that game.
Yeah, Turkey flying in this tournament thus far. We did see here between Australia and Portugal, still 0-0. There was a goal. We were featuring it. We were following it between Brazil and Spain. Which way did it go? Did Spain level up or did Brazil go ahead? Long throw-in into Milinkovic-Savic, win the header. It might not be nice, it might not be delicate or precise, but it doesn't matter one bit. Brazil 3-1 up to the good as Germany, with 10 minutes left to go, breaks South African hearts in our featured game.
We're seeing that
2-1.
We're seeing that time and time again with that Milinkovic-Savic, just having someone with that giant throwing trait. You can be 25 yards away from goal. Maybe you can just launch it into the box to give him the ability to look for that knockdown. It's just creating chances and angles and positions out of pretty much nothing.
Well, as we just see, 90 minutes then tick over in this one. Kind of flew under the radar a bit, didn't it, Australia-Portugal? They get a point each on this one. Both teams there look a little bit deflated with that result.
Surely you bring Tuga in now to, even if it's not an offensive move, just to get some vibes back. I mean, he does bring a lot of that energy. He brings a lot of that sort of
leadership
qualities, yeah, all that sort of stuff. Like when he plays well, the team plays well. If he sat behind you, I mean, what's that? 2 0-0s in a row now for Portugal. If you're not creating chances, you're not going to win games, and you're going to go out with 8 draws.
Match 5, you change things up, don't you now, Aggie?
Yeah, last game here for Portugal of the day is going to be absolutely crucial. If they get 3 points, we'll still look back and probably say this has been a decent day. Yes, it just leaves you with a bittersweet feeling, right?
Australia, on the other hand, you take a point against Portugal, you then come into a real deflated Spanish side, as Israel go 3-0 up to put the final nail in the coffin there against India. Australia probably thinking, this is the perfect time to play Spain. This is the 3 points that we need on the table because Brazil are pummeling Spain.
Well, that makes it 4, and that is definitely being pummeled there, Alex.
We have also had a vital goal in another matchup. Germany over South Africa. Germany were victorious there, picking up that 2-1 win. As we jump back into the game, Sweden, Peru.
Peru are decent.
I was going to say, Peru, they're going to be happy with this point against Sweden if they hold on.
I mean, when you're looking at the teams right now, you have Israel, Sweden, and Germany, where you arguably are saying, okay, these 3 teams look like they're going to be top of the group, and then looking at that 4th place right now, you're heading towards Peru, and thinking they should grab it.
Israel, Germany, Sweden, Peru. That could very well be the 4. South Africa and India both struggling to turn performances into points. Group C for Spain, it would have to be a real turn of fortune, a complete 360 on what we're seeing right now. 4 games, no wins, but 1 draw so far. Like, it's not necessarily that something's not clicking. They've not put the wheels on the car. Like, they've not moved. They're still sort of sat on the drive.
I love Richard Buckley analogies here. You never know what you're going to get. Your baguettes and your cheese in it, or your wheels in your car lacking and sitting in the drive. Anyway, still a lot to be played for. There is still, we're just waiting for this full-time whistle, between India and Israel here. 6-0. That's not a great day at the office, is it, for India there? Ooh. Well saved there, just to keep it at 6 goals there. Well, that's everything summed up then here around the grounds after the 4th round of fixtures. Well, let's go straight over to Spencer. He's standing by with the boys from Sweden. Spen?
Yes, I am indeed. I've got Olilito with me here, who hasn't featured yet today, despite having a fantastic outing last week in the E-Club World Cup. Talk to me about that strategy.
I think you can hear by my voice I'm not feeling 100% at the moment, so I'm letting the guys play. Yeah, basically that.
Okay, fair enough. Luckily, you've got some great teammates here who are doing well, unbeaten so far. 3 draws, though, as well as 1 win. What can they do to turn those draws into wins?
I think we play fantastic in defense, not so good in attack, so I think we can be better in that. Otherwise, defending perfect, so just hoping for the win-loss game.
I won't ask you too many more questions because I know your voice is sore, but last one, Germany next. Is this a big game for the group?
It is. I mean, we always play Germany every nations to qualify even, so we know them pretty good. Will be a very tough game and just hoping for the best.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you for talking with me. Sweden, obviously a great outfit, and if Ollie recovers, they've got a great player they can bring in. But Optole and Ollie Volley doing very well indeed, unbeaten so far.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Alex, how much do we look at that then? Obviously, Ololito has to sit out because he was ill. We wondered why he was sitting as backup. How much does it actually affect? If you have a cold and you come into here, I mean, firstly, I don't think you want to spread it to your teammates. I would almost be saying to Ololito, maybe he could be watching from backstage. If he's feeling that ill, you don't want to spread it and ruin all the chances. But obviously, it's affecting him enough not to want to sit in the key position there.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. And I think as well, you kind of have to give credit to Ololito to actually say, I'm not feeling 100%. We know he's a fantastic player. I'm going to pass the baton over to you guys and you can go out there and do the job. That's putting a lot of trust in your teammates and just saying, I'm going to sit back. He's still going to be a great coach in there regardless. So wish him a speedy recovery and hopefully we get to see him at some point throughout this tournament. But yeah, credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see how far Sweden go, and hopefully if they get to play a few more days, then Ololito will be recovered and we can see him in that Swedish side. Well, Mike Labelle has jumped off the sofa onto the telestrator for the first time, actually, during our stint here in Riyadh. Mike, what are you breaking down for us?
Well, happy days. We got the telestrator, we got the breakdown board, and we're going to look at the art of crossing. We're seeing this being so important in 2v2s. We've got the likes of Israel going up against India, and you're trying to unlock and really isolate these matchups. So we're looking at the likes of Savic here, and Savic has been a difference maker. You're going to see him get in behind the defense. It is absolutely beautiful. Take advantage of the space. Only he's in the right position. He finishes, he celebrates. Gorgeous. And it allows Savic to not only make a difference, but Israel to take advantage of that matchup and score these goals. And we've seen him constantly be such a dominant player. I know Alex on the couch will definitely co-sign all of this because he's been maybe the biggest of all the Savic fanboys that there are, but he is making that big of a difference. Back to you, Rachel, and the guys.
I feel like actually Alex should have been in that box there with Mike, because if I was tallying up, Alex, the amount of times you have mentioned this player, this tournament, and last week as well, he's your player of the tournament so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at players with their teams and what sort of outlets have they got, whether that's starting 11 or whether that's on the bench, just having something different, and that's what Savic provides you. I keep mentioning it. He's 6'8". Even Van Dijk struggles to compete against him, Rich.
So, if you're the coach, you're saying let's get him drafted, let's get him picked relatively high up as well in that process?
It depends on the players that you've got sat there. You have sometimes players that are saying, look, we don't tend to cross the ball that often. We like to keep it down on the deck and in that 18-yard box, use that fancy footwork. Savic isn't going to give you that. Yes, he's got the 5-star skill moves and he can find his way through and almost just bully that way through the defence with that physicality that he's got. But it's very different if you've got players that are going, you know what, we like a cross every now and then. We do like the ability to go for different outlets. And we've seen so many teams this tournament say, we're going to send someone on a run and just go for a cross that's central. And that's something so different this FIFA.
And even he's sort of the anti-cross as well, because you take him and then if you're seeing out a game and you're going to be receiving a lot of balls into the box, you stick him at middle centre-back. You've got a 6'8" centre-back who's good in the air, who can head the ball away. So I do think it's important just to have him, even if you don't utilise him, to what Mike just showed us, how good he is in the air. Just to have him even off the bench to go, okay, we're going to be seeing Petr Cech, Manuel Neuer and Haaland all coming on. Milinkovic, Savic, centre-back. Let's try and keep this out.
Aggie, would you have added much to your squad back in the day? Would you have included him?
I mean, depending on the meta, kind of. Diversity on your team is always great. It's always important to have different strengths in your team, and he's definitely a different way of playing and approaching the game. So I definitely understand why he's such a popular player. You also see it with the likes of Buffon and Louis and Peter Cech and many others. So it's a good player to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe this is the 5th and final round of fixtures here. A lot of these teams could add some new players in to see how they work in the team, and we might even see some more substitutions as well. So let's have a quick look at the standings then before we go into this 5th round. Turkey then have been the team from this afternoon session, 10 points there. Brazil, 8 points next to them. The defending champions, of course, they go up against Singapore next. Portugal, they're finding their feet a little bit as the day progresses here. 5 points to them. Singapore, then we know who they take on next. That is the Brazilian side. Australia and Spain, 3 points and 1 point respectively. They play each other in this last fixture, which is a massive one for both those teams. Group D then looks like this. Israel, everyone's been talking about them. They're sitting pretty at the top with 8 points, as are Germany. Germany have been rotating left, right, centre. Are we going to see them change something up again as they play the 3rd place side in Sweden, who are sitting on 6 points there? We know Ololito is not going to be in that Swedish side as he picked up a cold after the Club World Cup last week. The Peruvian side, who we didn't know that much about, have been in great form, picking up 5 points so far. Their last matchup is against 5th place India, who have 3 points. So that's a big matchup as well. Whoever wins that one, they could leapfrog the other and be in the driving seat in that 4th place position, which guarantees you knockouts heading into tomorrow. Then the South African side, they finally got a point, didn't they, in that last round of fixtures. So they've got 1 point to their name. They still need a little bit more, don't they? They were on for another point against Germany, and that German side just came back to bite them, Rich.
I'm going to hone in right on Peru. If Peru win and results go their way, they'll be 5 points clear with 15 left to play. Like, you're in a great position. So they probably understand how big of a result this is if they can get 3 points. One more piece of information I've just picked up on from turning around and having a look down on the ground. Portugal, Tuga is back in for the final time. We sort of alluded to it. We said we probably will see it to try and bring that mood up in the Portuguese camp. He is in the team and he is going to be featuring in our final game.
And Dolomike is sitting out again, isn't he, for that German side. Levy and Umit in. I'm going to say the Germany-Sweden game is pretty exciting. Rich, what do you want to see? Alex, Aggie, where are we going?
Well, I think Spain as well against Australia.
Must win.
Just because for both of them it's absolutely crucial to get 3 points here. 1 point is not enough. Alex?
I'm with you on that one. I think that game is absolutely huge for both teams. With your last fixture of the day, it's the difference between getting some sleep tonight and getting no sleep.
Restless. Everything will be annoying you. The AC twinkling.
Does it twinkle? I don't know, actually. I'll wear an eye mask, I never know. Anyway, Spain-Australia is a massive matchup, isn't it? It's 5 taking on 6 there. But like Spen said, the Australian outfit have more points than they had at the Club World Cup at this stage last week. 3 points at the moment next to their names. Germany and Sweden, though. Again, this is a close encounter. All these players here know each other pretty well as we have an opening goal. A big, big goal in the game. Singapore, Brazil.
It's a shocker. Brazil have been unbelievable during this tournament thus far. However, Singapore, who we've not really spoken too much about, got the opening goal. 1-0 up. Singapore in this real tight and cagey Group C. One game, one win can take you from 4th to 2nd. No real front runner in this group, and Singapore 1-0 up against Brazil.
Question for you, Buckley, as we're back into the game of Spain versus Australia. This year at FIFAe Nations so far, we've seen many substitutions come through, players stepping in and out, lots of rotation, Tuga coming in for Portugal again now. Last year we didn't see that as much. Do you think there's any reason behind that?
I would say that the teams have had longer to play together and they've had more reps just playing with each other. A lot of these nations as well using many players who weren't actually even featured because you could only bring 3 players. For example, Jose Ballion featured pretty frequently for Spain throughout this season, and he's not here today. Peru versus India. Peru know how important this result is if it goes their way. They can put some real distance between 4th and 5th, and they find themselves in the driving seat. Singapore are 2-0 up against Brazil.
Say that again, Richard Buckley. Go on.
The people in the back. Singapore are 2-0 up against Brazil.
Wow, the defending champions are struggling. Did they change anything? Let me have a quick look. Did they, Rich? Did you have a little look?
Not to my knowledge.
Let's have a look. Brazil, did you change anything? Pearson and Resende are in, so Palinetto jumped out again.
Ooh, Germany just...
So they did, actually, because we were saying how well Palinetto was doing, Alex, when he jumped in a little bit earlier on. Now he's jumped out again. They need to keep him in the side, clearly.
Well, if you're 2-0 down, you need some goals to get back in. Palinetto, one of the best ones here that you could bring on and make that substitution. It won't be panic stations too much yet at Brazil after the group stage that they've had so far. However, lots of work to be done. Germany, Sweden. Sweden driving through Mbappe. Ooh!
Great finish.
The drive, and again, that confidence, just to say, the defender may be there. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. We're just going to get that shot off and try and test the goalkeeper. Sweden starting strong against Germany.
So we jump on board here, 25 minutes on the clock. Spain and Australia both in pivotal moments during this E-Nations Cup. Even on day one, the distance just could be too big on day 2, especially if Australia pick up a win here. It would leave Spain in a real difficult situation going into 5 must-win games tomorrow.
And I'm also pretty sure Spain and Australia won't be too delighted about Singapore being 2 goals in front against Brazil, because that's a team they might want to compare themselves to and say, okay, that's the game that I want to, that's the team that we have to catch. But just as I speak about,
they're back in it now, aren't they? Back in it in this matchup. We just watch it a little bit before you do. We were speaking about how well Singapore had done, Alex.
Yeah, you just see that drive from Dembele all the way. Lovely movement from R9 as well, just to peel off and give that space from the defender. Credit to the byline drive as we go back to Spain, Australia. And would you say, Richard, for this game, should there be a team that does pick up that victory? The other team, tournament done?
Not yet. Just mathematically, it's still on. All I will say is
realistically,
a draw helps no one.
Yeah.
A draw helps absolutely no one in this situation. You want to try either nation to get the 3 points, and I could see potentially as this game draws on, you push and really try and extend your lead as we head on over Singapore and Brazil. It was 2-1 when we left it. Singapore are singing right now. 3-1 they lead.
Just as Brazil get one back, Singapore say, nah, you're all right, we'll keep it as it was.
And the credit we were giving to Israel, South Africa, very bad tournament so far for them. Find themselves 1-0 up against the group toppers. A big task on their hands, though, to keep hold of that lead. As we jump back into Spain, 42nd minute, Australia on that attack, got that chance, and it is going to be, I was getting ready then, Aggie. So it's going to be a goal.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of things going on right now. As we can see here, India is having one back, and it's a really important game for both of them. That's one of those 6 pointers we were speaking about, because if India were to beat Peru, they'll surpass them as well in the group for today. So a lot of very important games right now going on, very decisive for how the overall feeling will be from day one.
As we approach half-time between Spain and Australia, 0-0 the scoreline. We did have a goal here in this Group C, where everyone is scrapping, clawing, fighting for points, and Turkey go 1-0 up against Portugal. We said there might be a situation where one of Spain, Brazil or Portugal don't go through. There might be a situation where Spain and Portugal both get grouped.
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it, as it stands? I don't think we'd have been speaking that much about the likes of Singapore and especially Australia, but they're looking in much more control than Spain, not Portugal at the moment. Alex, you've got your... You don't know what you're doing over there.
Keep an eye on that Singapore-Brazil game. Brazil with a massive chance on the stroke at half-time. Singapore just couldn't sort out what they were doing from the free kick on the halfway line. Just kind of getting each other's way, and Brazil say, thank you, we'll take that, the full length of that pitch to run. And just got there, ball roll, defenders recovered really well. A huge chance though for Brazil to make it 3-2. Back into Portugal and Turkey. It's Turkey looking to extend their lead just before half-time. But again, some solid enough defending, and Portugal will kick that one out. I came on the couch and I said that Portugal, I'm just a little bit shocked by them because I'm just not seeing what we're used to seeing from them. How do you even have the conversations to change it, Agi?
I think it just goes to show how much or which consequence it also can have if you have a, like just looking at Tugan and Don, if you have a less good experience coming into a competition, if that could carry on, it could be something that will stay with you for the next competition. It's so much about confidence in these competitions and about mentality and being strong. So, yeah, definitely.
We thought it was a little bit too good to be true, didn't we, that South Africa were leading the line against Israel, and Israel then just came back and have equalised in that matchup.
I feel like that Thierry Henry item out on that left wing and left wing back, we've seen him in multiple different positions. It's just added something extra for these teams to have him on that left foot. He can travella, he can use the skill moves. He's been so reliable for multiple teams throughout these tournaments, giving Germany that answer back. Say Germany, Israel, apologies.
Getting ahead of yourself.
I was keeping an eye on the Germany-Sweden game as well at the same time.
You've read the script. Spain, Australia, still goalless. Just a real, just a tough situation to be in. Australia, you take a point apiece from the two remaining games. You also probably imagine coming into tomorrow that maybe you hope that Singapore don't play as well as they did today and you can pick up points off them, but they've not shown any signs of slowing down. Similar to Turkey, not shown any signs whatsoever of slowing down. So now, if you are Spain, if you are Portugal, you might be thinking, they'll not be thinking this. This is what we can discuss. Where do you get the points from? Where do you? Because Brazil's no easy game. Turkey's no easy game. You play against each other, you're probably going to draw.
You just can't rely on other teams dropping points. You have to come back and be basically better tomorrow. That's the only answer to their questions there, Aggie, isn't it?
Yeah, and both Australia and Spain will not be satisfied with 1 point in their match right now. They have to simply chase those 3 points because a lot of the other matches are going against them right now.
It's where as well, Mark can go FIFAe Club World Cup, Hollywood. We had a magical day too. Andoni's looking at it and going, well, we didn't, we got grouped. Neat's going, we just about scraped through. I don't know which side of the camp I'd want to be on. That Hollywood story was there. Australia, maybe.
I'd be in Hollywood's camp, I'd have the belief. Because you've done it, you've been there, done it, and it worked out on day 2. As we see the deadlock broken. As I spoke about Hollywood, the writing is on the wall in that one. Let's go and see what's been happening over there.
Maybe Mike LaBelle's rubbing off. All the sides in yellow seem to be performing. We just saw Sweden leading right there. Spain, Australia, it went to the Aussies. 1-0 up against Spain, that result. If it stays as it is, puts Australia in a real good position and leaves Spain and also Portugal, as they are currently trailing, in a whirlwind.
Well, thankfully, if you're an Australia fan, you'd say the odds are in your favour right now. Spain have scored 1 goal throughout this tournament. They want to go back and try and get 3 points. They've got to do something they've not done as of yet.
if you said to, I'm sure all three Aussies in the booth, last 2 games, 4 points out of 6, you absolutely take that.
And it just leaves Spain hanging on by a thread right at the bottom of the group. And they're now miles away from the other teams, basically. They're on a point if it stays as it is. And Australia moved to 6. So there's a massive gap now between them, and especially because Singapore are running away with it against Brazil. So big daylight coming between everyone at the bottom of that group.
And a big shout here at the arena. That can only mean one thing.
Only mean one thing, and that means Tuga Town is coming to Riyadh. He has been put back in the driving seat to steer this Portuguese side to another knockout. And they get an equaliser against Turkey with 30 minutes left to play, Alex.
Yeah, as we jump back over to the Spain-Australia game. 15 minutes remaining. Australia knocking on that door. And Neat and Andoni, every challenge that they've had, they've just been lost so far. Whip that one in. He's going to be claimed with Izo. Mark Levin and Naylor looking to just take that time off the clock, make it difficult for Spain, limit them to no chances. They break away. 2v2. R9's looking to drive. First time pass off the cross again. That's something that they've been doing a lot throughout this tournament, Australia. That quick first time release, try and get extra angles.
And Spain also know how a draw, at one point, they have to push for it. They have to push to even try and get an equaliser at this point. What does that lead to? Spacing behind Australia with loads of pacey attacking players to try and capitalise on that defensive frailty. There is shouts everywhere here in this final round of fixtures for day one. Goals popping off, players getting out of their seats. Where has the goals been scored? Portugal versus Turkey. We will just bring you the Portuguese powerhouses getting back into the game. They give the ball away at the back and Turkey capitalise on it.
Well, heartbreak then over in this matchup. The South Africans really looking for something.
Look at the time, 89th minute.
Well, if you're an Israel fan, you're thinking you've been a little bit hard done by there. I'm sure we'll get back to that game in just a second. As we see Spain, Australia. It is all Australia right now. Can they seal the deal? Bruno Fernandes, near post. They can indeed. Mark 11, Naylor and Marcus Gomez. They said they needed the 3 points. They have got that. And we jump back to this game, Richard. Israel.
2-2. Last kick of the game. 2 goals in what? The last 10 seconds of the match.
A few days ago, everything was going that South African side's way.
They hold on to that win and they get 3 points. On this occasion, it's only 1. As Sweden in shout, a real important win here against Germany.
Yeah, unless Germany here just had the opportunity. Vital 3 points for Sweden, and they'll be very satisfied by just finishing the day off by beating what you could call a rival.
Even if Oilito gets better, do you not stick with the same team?
They would. I think they will continue with the same lineup for tomorrow and maybe change it if something doesn't go as planned. But one of the main things here, just to pick up on that Israel-South Africa late drama, is we've seen it a couple times that the teams get a late winning goal and straight from kickoff the other team just go over and get back into the match. And I can't help wonder why teams aren't taking a break and just making sure that they're focused and ready for that last defensive art of the game. I have to question it.
Does it annoy you?
Yes, it does, because it's.
I can tell.
It's about being exact about what you're doing and focused and making sure that every detail is perfect.
The team who's been far from perfect today are Spain. They will end the day marooned, deserted, you could say, isolated at the bottom of the table. They look devastated. Australia pick up 3 points, a 2-0 win, as Singapore are about to beat Brazil 3-1 to put their name well and truly in the hat in this Group C race, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm just really surprised with that Spanish outfit there. They have no answers to any of the teams in that group. You'd think one of them maybe they can get a win. They've just got 1 point at the end of 5 matches. I'm just looking at our predictions. A couple of us said they were going to top the table as well. That's how much we thought of them. 3 of us actually said that. Aggie's pointing to him, Rich is as well, and Alex as well. Like, we all thought they were a quality outfit there.
Wasn't me.
What's changed from the main season to here that they can't find anything? Alex, it wasn't you. I'll say it was me. I don't know why.
Do you want the honest answer?
Brazil, I am Brazil. Yeah.
They're not scoring goals. They're not creating
But
chances.
that's not changed. That's like that's not the reason that's changed. What's changed in the build-up that leads to them not scoring goals? Is it the confidence?
We know FIFA Esports, you got 5 games to play today. If that first or second game just doesn't go your way, few chances you get here and there, you don't take them, that can have a knock-on effect. You can go into that 3rd and 4th game.
They just look deflated. They need to get back, forget about today, get a big dinner, think about tomorrow, just focus on a new day. As Turkey, that is a full time there against Portugal. They get the 3 points on the board, and both Spain drastically, but Portugal as well, are going to find themselves in a real heated battle to try and get through this group.
Yeah, 2 teams that we didn't expect to be in such positions after 5 rounds as Portugal and Spain, 5th and 6th in Group C respectively. Real bad days at the office for them. Portugal, though, a few more points under their belt, 5-2. Spain's 1. Spen, who are you going to chat to as we round out day 1 here? I believe Israel are up first, dominant in their group.
Yeah, very much so. Unbeaten after day 1. How do you feel?
We feel really good. We played good all the day, and that's the most important thing. We could have done more 2 points against South Africa and against Germany, but yeah, sometimes this is FIFA, and we know what we need to do for tomorrow, and we will do it.
That last game was really close. They went ahead with minutes to go, but you managed to equalise. That shows great character, doesn't it? Does that mean that you could be in a good position to win the whole tournament?
Yeah, that's our goal. Of course, we take everything game by game, and that's the most important thing. But our eye is always on the trophy, and that's our main goal.
Okay, best of luck tomorrow, and we see you next time. I'm going to head over to the next booth here. I want to talk to the guys from the Indian team who have had 1 win, 3 losses and 1 draw, 4 points after day 1. How do you feel?
Disappointing for sure. Like we came with the aim to have 9 points today, but 4 is obviously a disappointment. But we have a whole day too.
So you got day 2. What do you think was your, apart from the win, of course, what was your next best game? That draw in the last game, does it set you up nicely to then go forward and get some more points tomorrow?
Yeah, we knew like we couldn't give Peru a win at all, and plus the first game I think we could have sneaked in a draw or even a win against Germany. But the losses against Israel and Sweden really hurt us, so we have to bounce back.
How much pride are you filled with the chance to represent India on this stage at E-Nations, really prove what your country has to offer when it comes to FIFA?
It's a huge pride, to represent like the biggest country population-wise, so like a million population, and we are just 5 of us here, so it's a big pride of it.
You've done very well to get here, and India aren't out yet. Plenty of points still to get tomorrow. They could be making it through. That group is very much wide open. I think both groups are, to be fair, and that's our action done for today, Rachel.
Yeah, thanks so much there, Spen. I feel like watching or listening, I'd say, to that Indian team there, a bit of self-reflection after day 1, as a lot of teams may be doing. They just have to go away now and think about how today went and how they can better it tomorrow. Aggie, if you were a couple of those sides sitting at the bottom of the table, what does your coach do at this moment tonight? Do they kind of have a chat to you? Do you look through the results, or do you just put it to bed and go, tomorrow's a new day?
I think you're definitely going straight back to the tactical board, and you discuss through what needs to change. Let's take Spain for example. You're gonna dig into new formation, new tactics, maybe a new duo. I mean, you have to switch something up, and it gotta happen fast, and everyone needs to be in sync with it. So. Yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be discussed, not only for Spain, but also for the other teams here who haven't had their best day 1.
Have Germany found their best duo yet, Rich?
It seems to be Levi Finn and Ummet. They seem to be the duo. I think for me, when I spoke about it earlier, Levi Finn, they just complement each other really well. He can do everything he needs to do in the box. You let Ummet play his game. You're getting probably a 100% Ummet, very similar to what Anders and Ummet do. I think Germany are, if they continue in this vein, potentially a championship winning side.
And we're leaving out Dolan Mike there. That's a massive name not to be in that German side, Alex.
It is a massive name, and it's a very big player to leave out on that side. I think Dolan's the type of guy which, yes, he'll want to be eager, he'll want to be getting in to that playing team, but if they're doing the job, he'll just be waiting for that moment. There may become a moment throughout day 2 where they may look, they're qualified, they're happy, Dolan can then come in, have a run out and show what he's got to offer. Because when you get through to the knockout stages, you need to know, okay, what is going to be our best formula. So he will get a chance, I'm sure, of it, but yeah, he's not going to be happy to sit on that sideline. However, Ummet and Levi Finn right now are doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that German side, then we've spoken about them a little bit. Let's see where they finish day 1 in terms of the standings then. Well, they're in Group D. We'll get to them in a moment's time. Group C, Turkey, table toppers with 13 points. The Brazilian side, the defending champion, on 8. Singapore, a bit of a surprise package in 7th there. Australia, well, a good final win for them. Leapfrogs them up to 4th position. Portugal still in it. Spain, at the moment, I hate to say, looking a little bit left out at the bottom there, a point, but we do know day 2 can bring up quite a few surprises. Group D then, Israel and Sweden, well, they both end up with 9 points. Germany on 8, we think they found the best duo now. Peru, South Americans doing it once again in 6 points. India on 4. South Africa really struggling then at the bottom of that group, only on 2 points.
Yeah, and I mean, it just goes to show that it's a game of margins, and it's a very strict line between failure and success, because South Africa were leading that last match against Israel, and would they have got the 3 points there, they would be on 4 points, which on the standings would be a major difference and a major feeling for them coming into day 2 in terms of placement and what they can overcome. So they will also be back and hopefully be a bit more relaxed when they get a lead and make sure that they're ready to defend that.
Tuga, one of only 6 players who are in all 3 World Championships. Alex, surely he can't go out at the group stages again tomorrow.
It's going to be playing on his mind, that's for sure. He's going to be sat there tonight saying, 2 days ago, we saw ourselves get grouped. Yes, it's a different team, it's a different setup, but he does not want to be a part of that. He wants to push them on and get through. I think for Tuga's sake as well, it's about putting in a big performance tomorrow with Portugal. It's just so when it comes to the last tournament of the year, he's going in at least with that positive mindset. Aggie mentioned earlier on how can it have a knock-on effect with Andoni, with Spain, and in Portugal as well with Tuga. He's going to make sure they have a big day tomorrow.
Well, Andoni's here for 2, and this is his final competition. And again, it looks like it could be a similar story.
For Spain, very, very simple. Win outright. 12 points minimum if you want to get through. You come into the day, you're not worrying about small margins, you're not worrying about other teams, you're not worrying about permutations. Win.
It's as simple as that. I mean, thank you, Aggie, Rich, and Alex. Spain have got to win tomorrow to keep their hopes alive here in Riyadh. Can it be done? Well, at the moment, they've got to overhaul the likes of Israel and Sweden and Turkey, France and Argentina, who are all table toppers in their own groups. We do know, though, that anything can happen in FIFA esports, and we saw it only a few days ago. So find out who goes through to the knockouts in this, the FIFAe Nations Cup, when you come back and we get to do it all again tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll be here. Will you come back and see us then? Good night.